And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Evil Live. I'm your host, the Evil Tyrone. And I have some very special guests in the building tonight. We're going to have a discussion on extraterrestrial, just aliens in general. This is a conspiracy group. Got a lot of my uh, buddies who are heavily into like the conspiracy talk. And tonight we're going to zero in on aliens. So I'm going to introduce, one of my guests, one of my first guests in the building today. We got a Stitch Keeper, aka Chelsea, Tales from the Stitch. If you do not know her artwork, it's amazing. The things that she can do with the Stitch, just pretty much painting a scene from our favorite horror movies. So welcome today, Chelsea. Thank you for joining
Thanks for
us.
having me.
Oh yes. And then next up we have the one and only Lady Shasha in the building. Of course,
Hi.
friend to the show. What did I just watch? Everything. Cabin in the Woods Film Festival. Promoting that heavy
Oh, it's on this
right
side.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Among just a laundry list of other things that she's got going on. Everything is in the description, folks, for everybody tonight. So, how are you feeling today, Shasha?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I've been on the TikToks watching all the alien footage from around the world.
Oh, yeah. It's heavy. It's
hmm
so much. There's so much of it. Literally, so much of it. And last but not least, we got my buddy Mark OSD's, Midnight Social Distortion podcast in the building. 1/4 of Scream Kings in the building. How you feeling tonight, Mark?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm just glad to be around my folks again to talk about these conspiracies because a lot has happened since we last did this.
Oh yeah. A lot has happened. And things just continue to happen, and the conspiracies just continue to fly on and on and on. And I go to the chat. We got a official quiz in the building. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. We also got a Tony Man 100 in the building. Thank you for stopping by, Tony. So yes, we also do have some other guests, coming on later on in the show. Michelle Halloween and Arbitrary's Littles, later on in the show, but we're gonna get it kicked off, and I've got some questions for you guys, just some icebreakers as far as like this alien discussion, and where we're gonna take it today. So my first question would be, how did you guys like get into your, I guess, your curiosity for extraterrestrials and aliens, because I feel like everybody's story is different, because we're especially like with media, we're bombarded with like different representations of aliens and things like that out there. But I'm interested to know, like, how did you guys specifically get into your thirst, for more knowledge about the extraterrestrials, and I guess I'll start off with you, Shasha. How did you get into, your inc- your inquisitiveness, about extraterrestrials?
Well, aside from movies, there was a special that came on. I don't remember if that was in eighth grade or ninth grade, but it was called Alien Autopsy. And I remember that was like the talk of the school the next Monday. We were like, "Did you see that alien autopsy?" And it was presented as a documentary. Then they came back a week later and was like, "Oh no, it's a fictional show, and now it's going to be called The X Files." And I was like, "Okay." And now, like nobody, this might be a Mandela effect. Don't know. Nobody remembers that alien autopsy was the first episode of X Files. They now have the first episode of X Files listed as something different. But I remember
Wow,
that.
I did not know
Mm.
that. So it was called it, or they advertised it as
It
Alien
was called it
Autopsy.
it was called The X-Files Alien Autopsy, and it was presented like it was a documentary, and it showed, like, a whole autopsy of an alien, and it was just straight like that, the whole program. There was no inkling that it was fictional or that it was, um, scripted. It just was presented as if it was a documentary. And then the following week, it's like they decided to walk that back and say, no, they ain't ready for that yet. It's a fictional show and we're going to call it the X-Files.
Wow. That's a damn conspiracy in itself, because
Mhm.
I feel like I need to go back and rewatch the X-Files now, to see, like, so it's still, that first episode is available, like, for
I
streaming
don't
and
know
everything?
whether they have the alien. Well, when you look up the X-Files, it does not have the alien autopsy on there. They have that listed as a separate program. And it's like, in
Okay.
my mind, it's like that same thing that just recently, I compare it to the Ed McMahon thing with the Publishers Clearinghouse. Now they're saying that Ed McMahon was never a part of Publishers Clearinghouse. That's a false memory. And I'm like, no, I remember filling those out for my grandparents because we was gonna win that. And now they're telling us that never happened. He was never part of Publisher Clearinghouse. So I don't know. I mean, this is going into a different conspiracy with the whole Mandela effect thing, or whether we've been jumped to different I don't want to say parallel universes, but different timelines.
Yeah.
Like I've read, there's one theory that used to be that when you feel like you're falling when you're sleeping, that some people thought it was astral projection and it's you falling back into your body. But now there's some that say that that might have been your timeline jump, that you're falling into your current timeline from your previous timeline, and that's why things are different.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that's something trippy, because I feel like in everyday life, you may not realize like the little tweaks
Hmm.
here and there. Like, and then when you do, you're just, someone calls it the Mandela effect, or they're just
Hmm.
like, oh, it was always this way. So it can easily be, just shushed
Hmm.
away. Wow. Okay. Okay.
I almost wonder if the Mandela effect could also be like a psyop program where they're trying to see how easy or difficult it is to convince us of a different reality. Like, how hard can it be to convince, hundreds of thousands of people that their memories are false?
Mm,
And if we can
yeah.
convince them that their memories are false, then we can convince them of anything.
Yeah. Yeah. We ain't even we ain't even
Sorry.
10 minutes in, already getting heavy. Already
Mhm.
getting heavy with it. Um thank you for that, Shasha. What about
Yes,
you,
thank you.
Chelsea?
Um, well, I like grew up in the country, so we would just like look in the skies, and my dad would be like, "Oh, let's look for UFOs," and we just kind of look around. We never saw any, but that's kind of where the idea that aliens could possibly exist um, came from. And I've just always felt like there has to be more out there. Like, how could I'd be conceited to believe that we are the only species,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
all of those out of all those planets, we're the only ones that can survive. I'm not going to say thrive because I don't think we're doing too well right now, but
Mhm.
um, there's got to be more out there. There just has to be. And
Yeah.
then I liked, the sci-fi movies, but that was more just what if with the aliens. I always kind of believed in them, but I liked seeing the different stories about different types of aliens. Are they animals? Or are they more human? Or yeah,
Yeah. I love the ones where they're animals. I feel like it's a little creepier in that
yeah.
sense, for
I
some
like
reason.
yeah. I like parasites, like alien parasites. Those ones always got me
Oh,
because they're just small and they just kind of like
Mhm.
body snatcher style kind of thing. They just kind of
mhm.
sneak in there. Or was it? What was that movie? Slither? That was an alien, wasn't it?
Slither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like that, where they just sneak in and before you know it, it's all over.
Uh,
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah. Just a
Yes.
lot. Like, I was
Yeah.
watching was it Jordan Peele's The Twilight Zone, and they had like the octopus as like an alien species, and took over, and
Mhm.
as like a revenge on mankind. And it was
Mhm.
just, it was a wild theory. And then, like the whole praying mantis theory, that they are indeed aliens as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
It's a
read
lot.
about the octopus one. They put the octopus also with, I think it's goats, because their irises are square and no other creature like on the planet they've discovered yet has a square iris. Everyone has a circular iris or circular pupil, but theirs is square. So they have no clue why.
Goats.
Goats
Damn.
and octopus are like the only that I can think of. There probably might be 2 or 3 more, but that's still such a small number compared to the vast amount of creatures in the world.
Damn, I gotta check that out. I definitely
Me
gotta
too.
check that out.
Me too.
Goats. Now, what about you, Mark? What was your introduction into aliens?
Kind of like Chelsea, I just always felt that it was something else out there. I was like, it has to be more than what we're doing. And I remember having this conversation with my dad. My sister's very deep in the conspiracy theory thing. Sometimes I gotta be like, girl, come out, take your what's it called, the aluminum hat off? Take the aluminum hat off, because she really thinks Jamie Foxx has been cloned, so it's just that's how deep she goes into it. So for me, it just, we had this conversation and my sister was talking about playing aliens from other planets and stuff like that. My dad was like, only the Lord made, man and the earth and stuff like that, and everything else out there. There's nothing else out there except for us. I said, Dad, I don't usually sit there and try to argue with you when it comes to the Bible. I mean, I don't really, go by it, but I'm just saying, like, let him have his thing, as long as he don't tell me about horror and how it's gonna possess me and stuff, whatever. But I had to sit there pushing back. I'm like, Dad, it's very conceited to feel like, like Chelsea said, that we're the only people here. That is very conceited to think that God sat there and was like, I'm just gonna make humans and animals and little small things to go on the planet Earth, and I'm not gonna touch anything else. I'm not gonna put any other life out there. I just think that is foul.
Mhm.
So I've always been, not just with aliens, but with like the supernatural, the paranormal, and all this stuff, trying to figure out like veil out there.
Mhm.
And I'm always intrigued with stories of people that tend to find that door,
Mhm.
whether it's in the closet, up under the bed, in the sky, at a lake, in a car, so it just, wherever you can find that portal into the other world, I'm there, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yes, I love it. Especially, I feel like you can talk to some people about it, but it's like the people that you can talk to about aliens, it's either uh people are like open to, some people are open to it. They're like, oh yeah, there's gotta be,
Mhm.
some extraterrestrials out there, all the space and all the galaxies and everything. There's absolutely gotta be somebody else out there. Or you get, the people who go like deep into it, and they start talking about like the DNA swapping and all that, and they start going and which is a possibility, but it's some people that really go deep into it, so yeah, it's a plethora of different angles out there, when it comes to that.
Yep, I almost scared. I didn't want to scare my sister, because I was going to tell her when we had a conversation, kind of like the DNA swapping and all this stuff. She was just sitting there trying to tell me, like, yo, it's really out there. Like, let me explain to you this, and that. And I was going to freak her out and say, well, you know what? You got me. I've been swapped, I'm not your brother. I've been swapped. And I'm just sitting here trying to. And I was like, I almost came to that point, but I was like, if I do this, she's going to literally think that I have been swapped. And she would be like, that explains so much. And then, she's going to start crying in front of me, literally start crying like, oh my God, I've lost 2 brothers and this is crazy. And she went out there and just lit up, because that's when she starts talking crazy. She be smoking. And I'm like, oh God, like she's high. So, and I'm not trying to say this is a negative thing about, it just affects different people. And she goes all the way left with it and just be like, girl, just come up off of it a little bit. Just come up off of it a little bit.
I wish that would happen. When I smoke, I just get hungry and tired.
Right. I mean, I don't smoke, but when I take my edibles, I'm just like chill and just be like smiling and very sociable.
Yeah.
But she gets to deep talking. I'm like, oh God. Like, if I did have an edible, she would just completely just blow it. Like, I just, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like if the aliens were here, what strains would they bring? You know, like what type of strains would they bring to us, or how would they improve? You know, our way of getting high. You know, that's a wild thought. You
Well,
know,
there's
but
some theories that they've been here before and they're just coming back. Like if you guys read about Planet Nibiru, which is
yes,
like on that ellipse where it takes it longer to traverse to do its I don't want to say rotation. It's not a rotation. It's more like a cycle. And when it comes back around closer to us is when we seem to have more activity. And there was like something I was reading that was about no, I wasn't reading it. It was a YouTube video that I was watching and somebody else was reading. I was listening to them read. But it was about the Anunnaki and about like ancient alien theory about how they had pretty much tampered with genetics to create us. And then they came back years later and was like, wait a minute, like when we left, the ones we created, they was all brown. We came back and there's like these other strains. Where'd they come from?
that'd
Because
be
the whole
that'd
because
be
the
wild.
whole, the whole thing where they can pretty much carbon date black people's DNA to like 300,000 years, but white people's DNA is only like 7,000 years. So they're kind of like, well, how the hell did that happen? How did you have this one group of people that are 300,000 years old and this other group that they're only
Listen.
7,000 years old?
It's Prometheus. all over
Yes.
again.
Yes. I
And if
think they
not,
made him change that script. They was like, you're telling too much.
I wouldn't
Facts.
put it past them. I mean, so that'd be creepy. You sit there and figure out, because that ties what you showed us earlier, Sasha. So Shasha, Shasha, because that tall black, 7 feet.
Oh, the video I sent with the dude
That
talking about the
ties into what you said earlier. They come
yeah.
back like, what in the entire fuck?
Yeah, the lady said they were dark skinned. He said, no, they were black. It looked like they were black people. They were 7 feet tall.
That explains so much. Like, my sister watches this, she's gonna be like, I told him. I told him.
But they said there were giants, back then as well, so
Mhm.
and it's like when you think about it, like were they giants? Were they really tall people, or did they
You
have
can
some
kind of
sort
see
of
it in some of the cuneiform tablets that are like from Egypt to Samaria. They have tablets. It's carved and it's got like regular sized people, and then it has these giant people. And then also with the buildings, you see these old structures, and they have the doorways and the windows are huge. It's like, what would be the purpose of them making these doorways and windows that big?
yeah. It makes sense. It all connects. you know Let's go to the chat, see what's going on. We got a Fox
Well,
a
well,
faux minky latte.
hmm
Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. We got Rainbow in the building. Look at these lovely faces. Conspiracies are always a great time. Yes, yes. Thank you for stopping by. Fo says it definitely feels like a timeline shift, more like a dimensional shift. Yeah, yeah. I think everybody kind of feels that way, especially like after, what is it, 2020 or even 2012, like that whole
hmm
theory, about things just flipped, once 2012 popped off. And we thought, because of what they put in the media and things like that, we were going to see tornadoes and earthquakes and ice storms and all that. But what's really going on? What's really
hmm
going on out there? Uh, uh,
We're gonna
thank
nickname
you.
you "What Up" because we
Yeah,
can't say that name.
yeah. What up? Thank you for
Yeah.
stopping by. Super excited to be tuning into this. Had an experience when I was in the 4th grade and never feel believed when I share it. Wow. Well, if you want to share that experience in the chat,
hmm
definitely share it with us. We're always down to hear stories. We got Tony, man. LadyShasha was smoking that indica, not sativa.
Supposed to shh. Let me tell him my business.
Foe says also had a relative take a DNA test to maybe explain all the weird ish that happens in our family. Yeah, didn't explain anything, but we got lots of surprises. Yeah, there's always like, because we're only like, a lot of times we only can trace back our family, but so far, for the most part, especially in the Black American experience or whatever. So it's like it's always full of surprises. The DNA is always full of surprises.
Yep.
Now I feel like, well, my introduction into aliens was I mean, of course, you had like Independence Day and stuff like that, and Men in Black and things of that nature. But I do remember there was this special on Fox TV. I think it was like 2 hours long. It was like back then they used to do them uh, those like mockumentaries or documentaries. Which now I'm like, was it a documentary or was it well, of course it was a documentary. I mean, a mockumentary, but it was like an alien invasion, but basically it was like found footage style. And it was and it was back then, before, like, I think it was like before Blair Witch Project and everything. And it was they had like footage of this family getting invaded.
The McPherson tape.
That's what it's called, Mark.
What's
the
it called?
McPherson tape. The
Yeah, I need
McPherson
to-
tape.
McPherson tape.
The McPherson tapes. Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, but when you said before the Blair Witch, I said I just watched the found footage phenomenon documentary. They talked about it on there. So
yeah, because I just remember as a kid, it scared the shit out of me. I was just like, what is going on? And I remember I couldn't, like, because I had to, every night I was in charge of taking the trash out or whatever. So it was like,
That's always creepy when you're a kid. It's
yes, yes.
Yo, it was because your imagination just runs wild. And back then we had like giant trees in like the front yard or whatever. So I would always imagine like the trees were alive, and they would just come down and grab me and speak to me in deep voices and things like that. It would always always creep me out. But I would think like, one of these days I'm gonna take the trash out and I'm just gonna be abducted by aliens. Like one of these spaceships is just gonna whip around, take me up. I don't know why they would want me, but I felt like they would take me.
You just unlocked a memory, and I'm gonna show my age now because it's a Gen X memory. There's a movie called Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and my parents took us to see it. I think we saw it in a drive-in, or I might have seen it on video. I was real little when I saw it, so I can't remember where I saw it. But there's a scene where this child gets sucked through a doggy door into the aliens come and get him, and they suck him. He's running through the house, and they get him through the doggy door, and that scared the crap out of me when I was a child.
I have not seen that movie, and that would probably scare the shit out of me if I was a kid.
Yes.
Too. I'll just be honest with you.
That, and there was a mini series that came on, and I don't know whether it was the 70s or the 80s. It was called V, and it was about these aliens, but they were more like lizard people.
Yes.
Robert Englund was on that. He was eating rats, and I just remember it being so creepy. I bet you it's probably hokey and corny when you watch as an adult, but when you see it as a little kid, you're just like, that's scary.
Especially when they rip their skin off their face.
Yes, they would rip their skin off, and it'd be a lizard person underneath.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta watch V. But if y'all want to watch the
Tubi.
Oh, it's on Tubi, and they had V, then they had the V movie, the miniseries, then they had the V TV series, then the miniseries called V: The Final Battle. Then they remade it on ABC a few years ago with Morris Chestnut.
I saw the remake.
Monica. Yeah, that was
that out.
And then
that, and I want to watch Alien Nation as an adult. I want to see that one as
me
an adult.
too.
Yeah,
that's hard to find now. You got to find that.
The movie is on
the
YouTube.
TV series. Okay. I did find the movie The McPherson tape. It also goes under the name UFO Abduction or Alien Abduction, and it's streaming on Tubi, Pluto TV.
Okay. Tubi the goat.
For real.
Yeah. I think it's on Amazon Prime too. I could be wrong though, but it's streaming there. It's streaming places. So
Fierce and Tate, yo, I gotta pop some popcorn and just soak it up in the dark,
Mhm.
Now let's see, let's go to the comments. What up says, I'm from Maine originally, and when I was in the 4th grade, about 10 p.m., I was letting my dog outside and saw a huge triangle-shaped ship with red lights along the side moving very slow, and it was very large. And told my teacher about it the next day at school, and she told me it was a military plane. Believed that for years until one night I was watching TV and saw someone with video footage of what I saw. Wow.
Mhm.
I believe it. I believe it. We don't know what's flying in the skies, especially that's why they call them UFOs, because they don't be telling us. They don't be telling us. It's like, why be so secretive? Why the secrecy? Tony Man says, I knew this family who saw an actual alien invasion. The dad was trying so hard to keep the family safe as the alien ships vaporized people. One came from out of the city streets. Interesting. Interesting. Where was this? What city was this, Tony?
yeah, what city was this?
That's what I want to know. I want to know, what city was this? Let's see. Foe says one of the tests was to find out what tribes and or countries we may be from. Yes, yes. I
Mhm.
I always recommend people do, I mean, there's so many out there. Like I did an African ancestry
Mhm.
one not too long ago. Found out I'm got Burkina Faso in my
Mhm.
blood, so shout out to Burkina Faso, doing their thing right now. I feel like everybody should get
Yeah.
some sort of test, to just to have something, we need something, you
Mhm.
know um got a Tony Man says that was the 80s. Lady Shasha, best show ever.
I
Yes,
don't know if you're
yes.
talking about V or if you're talking about Alienation.
I'm thinking they probably were referencing Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, that's a movie.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, it could be V. I'm
Yeah.
not sure when would V come out, in the 70s or the
I'm not
any
sure if it was the late 70s or you know what? Let's do this.
It was the early '80s. It was the
early
early
80s.
'80s.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Because sometimes I can't tell because there's certain things that I think are from the 80s, but it turns out that they were rebroadcast from the 70s. So then it's that happened with there was a movie I used to watch. It was called Gargoyle, and I always thought it was from the 80s. And when I looked it up to try to watch as an adult, apparently it originally played in like 1977 or 78, but they had rebroadcast it in the 80s.
That's how I felt about the Aristocats. When I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, the Aristocats, this is awesome." And then people were like, "Oh, this is an old ass movie," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, still, still
Mhm.
awesome, still awesome." We got a what up says, "Was so happy that someone caught evidence of what I experienced immediately changed my mind and belief."
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. And then Foe says they talking about you're still black. We just don't know from where. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, what you can do if you did ancestry.com, what you can do because their system is kind of limited, you can download your data and then you can re-upload it into I think it's called GEDmatch. Let me just double check. And I think it's GED match. Yeah. GEDmatch gives you a more accurate I guess calculation of where in Africa you're from, even down to sometimes they can even do the tribe. Because on Ancestry, on Ancestry it just mostly said like broadly West African for me. Then
Mm-hmm.
23andMe narrowed it down to Nigerian, Cameroonian, and South African. And they want to put in a GEDmatch. It actually said Khoisan, which is like a specific group of people in South Africa. It couldn't break up the Nigerian, but it sometimes it comes down to some of these tribes are literally the same DNA. They're just tribal based on their ethnic, I guess their ethnicity rather than their actual DNA. It's kind of like, and this is the controversial, but people are gonna have to be mad. Israelis and Palestinians, they're genetically the same people, but because they have two different belief systems, they've been beefing for a long time. But there's a lot of places in Africa like that where the people will be of several different tribes, but genetically they're the same people. So sometimes it's hard for them to say, "Oh, you're this specific tribe," if it's not a large genetic difference.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I'll write it in the chat, GED match. So you guys,
Yes, get match.
yeah, you can upload your data to there, and it gets really, really like deep.
Yes, and Tony Man said he was referring to V with his '80s comment, and the
Oh,
family alien encounter was War of the Worlds.
I thought you were
Rude.
I thought you were describing World of Worlds, but I didn't want to be I
Yeah,
didn't want to because I
that
was
was
like,
rude. That
yeah.
was rude, Tony. Tony, I was like, what did happen there? I was like, that does sound like War of the Worlds, but
Mhm.
Yeah, War of the Worlds was rude in itself. You know that whole incident, that whole incident. Um, Now my first question for you guys would be, if aliens came down, and they were like, you know what, I choose you, Shasha, I choose you, Mark, I choose you, Chelsea.
I'm out of here.
Um,
I don't even have to think about it.
yeah, but now would you choose humanity or would you choose the role with the aliens, and why would you choose that side, Shasha?
Oh, because the aliens are here. They've shown they're here. There's videos and videos and videos of them flying around, and humans are still online talking about, I'm an alpha male. Oh, that trans woman tried to sell me beer. And it's like, y'all are too stupid to survive. I'm sorry. You're too stupid to survive. The aliens are here and you're still talking about dumb shit.
exactly.
Yeah, I respect it. I respect it. What about you, Chelsea? What would you choose?
Oh, I'd
To
100% go with the aliens. Like, I'm done, like, with the planet in general. Like, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing at all. It's all just a big old mess. Nobody
Mhm.
can afford to do anything, and like, just surviving is expensive.
Mhm.
I'm ready for something new. You know what I mean? I'm ready
Mhm.
to just go off, and could it really be worse than what we're going through now? And check it out. See what they got to offer.
Yeah, it can't be that much worse than what we're going through now. I always think about like what was that, watching Lovecraft Country and
Mhm.
Mhm.
Arinthia Blue, and she had that choice, and it's just like,
Oh boy.
Yes.
Mhm.
stay here in this reality, and just be with your daughter and your family, or go off into this other reality and these other worlds, and just live your best life, and I always wonder like what people's answers would be, because everybody's got different reasons for staying and leaving, so
Mhm.
Mhm.
it's always different uh reasons. Jay Johnson, hey, thanks for stopping by. Beam me up. Beam me up. What about you, Mark? What would be your choice?
Man, okay, so we're saying like we know they're good, right? We know that they ain't trying to have us, like to serve man, and they're not
Mhm.
saying like we're serving man to our, family, but they saying
Mhm.
like we're good. We
Hmm.
don't want to eat y'all. We don't want to infiltrate y'all's
I mean,
bodies.
it's a risk. It's a risk because they come down, they say, hey, we're peaceful, and they really, it's not like it's on some Independence Day shit. They haven't really done anything. They're just like, you know what?
Mhm.
We see y'all, uh for whatever reason, the person that you are, your level of consciousness,
Mhm.
we want that, on our planet, and we want to show you this other, planetary, sphere.
Well, if they're good, I'm on the ship. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to go. But I would ask them, are y'all sure that I can breathe on y'all's planet? Because if I can't breathe on it, that's, I don't want to get there and be excited and then my face explodes as soon as I get off the ship, So I would go because of everybody's on the panel's, reasoning, because this planet there's signs every day that the planet is like calling out, yo, I'm
Yeah.
not well. I'm not well. The ice caps are melting. It's hotter than ever in certain areas it was never been hot in. Summers are longer, winters are shorter. The circle of life that we're used to is like changing up. And it's going to get to the point where we're going to have like a what they call them, apocalyptic thriller type situation, like 2012 or the day after tomorrow, something like that, where it's going to be unstoppable and we can't do anything to stop it, even though we get all these signs saying this is what we can do to help. So like Chelsea said, we got the wrong people in office. You know what I'm saying? They refuse to do right. And it's like, I would take all my family and my nieces. If I sat there and made sure that we'll be good to go, let's get on the ship and go. Because I give it another 50 years and all this shit's going to be obliterated. Because motherfuckers they're doing the absolute most. And plus, the xenophobia, the homophobia, the transphobia, the, just people, racism. Racism.
That's killing me. Like, how once the government says there are people from other universes, galaxies, planets here, and you still arguing about different types of humans, like, what are you not getting that you're an earthling? At this point, all that is dead. You're earthling. What do you
exactly? Shasha, that's Shasha. That's why I keep saying I keep telling people, when they sit here and let's say if the aliens did come. And they're like, we don't like any of y'all. We just want to get y'all. Y'all don't know how to. You do not know how to handle your planet. We're here to. We need someplace to live. We're just gonna eradicate all of y'all. Like, that would be our extinction event, and there would still be people in the streets saying like, "Oh well, I am from this country or this and that, and we don't need to." Take them. Like, we're different. No, we're not. They were like, all of y'all the same. All of y'all are on this planet. All y'all gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be no, well, the white people are gonna be safe. No, the black people are gonna be safe because we can tell them. No, it's gonna be none of that. No, Mexico versus America. No, Europe versus the continent of the American continent. We just, everybody's got to go because we need to restart because y'all are fucking up.
I meant to share it with a group, but I saw there's a person on YouTube. Well, there's a lot of people on YouTube that read tarot cards, but this guy decided he was going to read tarot cards on the aliens, and just to figure out what they want. And he was saying that his cards was telling him that us destroying our planet actually is affecting their atmosphere. So they've been coming here talking to the government and saying, hey, you got to stop doing this because what you do on this planet has a ripple effect on the other planets in the atmosphere. So they see, Bolsonaro burning down the rainforests, and you got these train derailments in America that often have chemicals in them. I don't know why it's never toilet paper trains. It's never it's chemicals. That's interesting. It's they're seeing like a lot of just like why is this particular species of people destroying their own planet for profit? And I don't know why the wealthy people think they're going to have different air to breathe and water to drink. I don't know where they're getting that from. That's not how it works.
Yeah, and little
that's
fires
why they're all
everywhere.
trying to go to space.
Oh yeah, they're all super invested in SpaceX. They think they're just going to go colonize Mars and leave us here.
Yeah, and then they're just going to ruin Mars. So in another however many years for them to ruin Earth, they're just going to go around the planets and destroy everything. And
that's what Wally should have been about. Just going from planet to planet and just being assholes.
Yep.
Planet to planet.
Do you ever wonder if there's like a certain amount of like predictive programming in our movies, and that's why we're seeing so many movies within the last few years about multiverses. Like it just seems very interesting.
Um,
There's so many movies about multiverses, not even just Marvel and DC, but you have like Everything Everywhere All at Once,
yeah.
and there was a few TV shows. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, are they trying to prepare us so that when we see multidimensional beings, we don't freak out?
I would be
Like
so
if we
happy
see a
about
scroll
that.
walking down the street, it's like, oh, that's a scroll.
Look, I like that theory you said earlier about waking up and thinking you're in a different, waking up and finding out that you're in a different. Look, I'll be okay with that because maybe it was like, yo, that timeline was fucking up, so we just
Yes.
picked you because you're like Tyrone said, you've evolved, you're at a higher level of thinking. We just picked you and put you somewhere else. That would explain why my sister went from being like this, girly girl type person to being like, yo, did you not know that this because I swear to God, it looked like it happened overnight. Like, yo, what happened to you going to get your nails and stuff done? And now you're just like, oh, I don't like this stuff. I'm like, like, what happened? Like, but she still does all this stuff. I'm just saying, I'm just messing with her because I think she's watching now.
But I do believe in the predictive programming. I mean, we joke about the Simpsons all the time, but there's just little things like that, maybe like when I was younger, I didn't really pick up on, but now I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers is really putting it out there, like especially with Marvel, like when I watched was it Iron Man 3? And then, I'm looking at the news and I'm like, wait a minute, this is
Super
too,
soldiers.
yeah, this is too dead on. This is too
those robot dogs in that Black Mirror episode.
Yes.
That, oh my God. Like Boston Dynamics were working on those, but to go from that to they're walking the streets in New York right now as police dogs that fast was really, and as wild as Black Mirror, their whole concept was they're supposed to take place approximately 5 years into the future. And I'm like, geez, that came fast.
Even striking vipers, like us going into another like playing virtual reality and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, we're doomed.
We're so doomed. We're so doomed. Even that episode, but I haven't had a chance to see it, but I've heard so much about it. So and so is awful because that came out right before the writer strike hit, and they were saying like they were going to like the companies, the studios are trying to use AI. And they said it's actually in the contract of certain places, like we have the right to use AI, in place of this, and that. And that's also affected actors. That's why they're striking, because they're trying to sit there and say, yeah, we can use your likeness if we feel like it. Right.
For the rest of your lives and after you're dead. Like,
right.
And on other planets. Like I read, like they said one of the contracts was like in this universe and in any universe, it's like,
oh, they're already planning, so they know.
Yeah. So you motherfuckers know. Like I was watching Hulu yesterday, and there was a commercial with Terry Crews, and they didn't show his face. They just showed his feet and his legs, and it was his voice. And I'm like, oh, this is I wonder if this man got paid, at all.
Yep.
Like this is wild.
Yep.
The AI thing is crazy,
Yes.
So we got Michael Anthony in the building. What's up, Michael? Tony Man says on a real question for the panel, why would you go? Have you seen video of people that have been abducted and how crazy they are, or do you guys think they're just crazy?
I don't think that they're just crazy. It might be the fact that they actually did, go. I think that works in the favor of the government trying to because again, y'all, I really want to tell y'all, like, I really don't be like, my sister start talking about stuff like this, I'd be like, girl, bye. But I feel like there is a reason why the government do shut down some of this stuff, because they know the world is not going to be ready for it. And because and then that's if the people even choose to come back, you know what I'm saying? they might come back and be like, yeah, I've been this place, this, and that. And they'll be like, okay, grandpa, come over here. We're going to sit there and put you in here's a little jacket for us to put on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let's get you in this jacket. And it's a straight jacket. But I feel like there's incidents where people have disappeared, like a lot of these missing people, and you can't find them. There's a plethora of reasons why you can't find some of these people, namely because people don't talk, or maybe because they are like went to certain locations where they weren't supposed to be, and maybe they're deceased and they're buried somewhere. But there's also the possibility they could have been taken somewhere, off the planet. There's a Unsolved Mysteries, the podcast episode of Unsolved Mysteries, where this guy told his family members and all his friends that he did get in contact with some extraterrestrials, and he pretty much went around and told them like, yo, I've chosen to go with them, don't come looking for me. And he disappeared, and they could not find him to this day. They found pieces of him, and they found his car, and they found like certain weird like markings near his car, where they found like in the woods somewhere. They found his car in the woods somewhere, way off from where he usually is at. And he found some real weird markings and stuff like that. And his son, if I'm not mistaken, his son thinks that he did leave with the aliens. And his other family members think that he was actually just abducted by somebody and killed because, but it makes you think, you know what I'm saying? When people like just get up and just leave, and they leave all of the possessions behind and stuff, and they just go. Because that brings back to what you asked earlier, Tyrone, and what Tony was saying. Like, if you get an opportunity, like, yo, don't worry about bringing anything, just come. You know what I'm saying? Just come, and they'll be like, because what you need a phone for in like Quizorp or something like that, or what you need a book for, or a movie or something like that. The most you probably could bring is probably a picture of your family and stuff like that, and that's it. So
yeah, I would want Wi-Fi. I would still want to FaceTime, with my nephew and shit. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
But see, Tyrone, if you FaceTime your nephew, he'd be like, where you at? And then he'll sit there and be like, my uncle said he's on Octopus somewhere and he's chilling, he's fine. They'd be like, sir, can we talk to you for a minute? You won't put your nephew in there. Because they'll sit there and be like, yo, we gonna have to talk to this bro, because he knows something.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when the aliens come down and they, offer that proposition to me, I'm picturing this being on like a televised thing. Like, y'all know I'm chosen.
Okay.
Like it's on CNN. Tyrone Williams beamed up, and I probably got some cult that I don't know about somewhere, like, oh, the chosen one, blah, 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 or, Shasha, Mark, Chelsea, y'all got some cult, following, like, oh, this is where they went to school. And this is why these are the books that they read, which elevated them to the position of superiority, to where the aliens felt that they could beam them up. That's why they were the chosen ones. That's why they were the core four. So to speak, So it's
Yo, that's the case. I'll be ready to go. Can you imagine that press conference, Tyrone, though? To be like, we're the chosen. We'll be like, hey, we up out of here. We are so gone, man. I cannot wait. I'm so happy to go.
Oh,
I'm supposed to be the audience crying.
I would be so ignorant. on my exit speech. I'm gonna be like, and I'm telling on everybody. I'm like, I saw this TikTok. It was this black dude. He was like, he was basically like, I'm telling on all the white people. I'm telling the aliens everything that y'all done did. Everything that y'all done did.
Oh, they can see it. They can see. Oh, speaking of that, this is just a non sequitur. But I was reading an article today about. Did you hear about the Black American soldier that he defected to North Korea last week? He was supposed to be coming back, traveling from. He was stationed in South Korea at a base, and he got into trouble, and he was supposed to be being sent back to the U.S. to go back to his army base in Texas for, I guess, a psych evaluation because they were trying to figure out why this dude keeps messing up. And he ran off with a tour group and ran up into North Korea. Today, North Korea issued a statement saying, "Yeah, your soldier came here. He says that the U.S. Army is too racist and there's too much racial prejudice in the United States." And I'm like, "That's you messing up when North Korea is like, y'all are too racist. That's why you're over
Right.
here with us." I'm like, wow.
That's wild.
That is so wild. Oh my God. I can't wait to look that up.
That's
And
wow.
it's funny because there was I have to share it to the group. I saw it's like a short documentary. I forget whether it was on BBC or Channel 4, but it was reposted to YouTube about this black woman who was the daughter of an African diplomat, and her father was friends with Kim Jong-un's father, and he promised to take care of her if something would happen to her father. And so something happened to that diplomat, and he really came and got that girl, took care of her in South Korea, sent her to a fancy boarding school in England for like however many years till she was an adult. Like, dude kept his promise to take care of that girl.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. That's wild. That's wild. I gotta read it. I gotta read a little bit
Yeah,
up on
there's
that
photos of her
story.
too. It's so wild to see these old pictures from like the 1960s in North Korea, and you see all these little Korean children and one little black girl standing there with them. They're all dressed the same and everything. It's like,
Damn. I gotta check that out. We got a foe. They said, I know it's a coincidence, but I dreamt about a pandemic before the last one happened. Yeah, I am a believer in, like, dreams and just predicting certain things,
Yep.
because a lot of people have said that they predicted, certain outcomes and things like that in their dreams. Also, I feel like it kind of is alien, but kind of not. But I know The Simpsons, they had an episode where, and it wasn't the whole episode, but I think the end of the episode, I think The Simpsons went to China or some shit, and it was dragons in the sky, and they were like the dragons awoken every like some thousands of years or whatever, and now they're like, it's time to destroy the earth and all this shit. And I'm like, I believe in that shit because I had a
oh,
dream that
there you
was
go.
very similar, and I was riding a dragon type being or whatever. It was like it was some crazy shit. So I'm like, if we see dragons, I'm calling it. So
I'm inclined to believe they're real because they're in ancient artwork. They not only show up in China, they show up in Africa, they show up in Mexico, and like some of the Aztec carvings. They show up all in India, all around the world. Everyone's got carvings of these dragons. So I feel like they had to have existed.
Oh yeah. I agree 100%. We got Dell on movies. Thank you for stopping by, Dell. Thank you for stopping by. We got Foe said, another summer I saw the biggest ship I've ever seen slowly moving in the sky. My brain had a hard time processing what I saw. Yeah, it's a lot of UFO stuff. It's a lot of unexplainable things up in the sky. Like my sister, she recently caught something on video that she had posted on her TikTok.
Oh,
She's in
wow.
I think Pensacola, Florida.
Oh.
And she caught something on video, and I was like, oh, this is wild.
Does she ever hear anything odd? Because like recently we've been here. I'm in Orlando, Florida. There will be times where it'll sound like it's thunder, but the sound goes on for way too long. It doesn't sound like normal thunder. It'll just be like a long droning thunder for like minutes at a time, and it's like that doesn't sound natural. And I've been here since 2007.
Because I know there were I saw a lot of videos on TikTok. It was like in different countries where they were hearing like different sounds that were like unexplainable. And we also have seen, like, I'm sure we've all seen the videos of them seeding the clouds, and them just creating rain and all this other. So I'm like, at this point, because I know this past month, it literally, like this past month and a half, it's literally rained every day.
Yes.
Heavy rain, like just randomly. It's not even in the forecast. And it'll just like come out of nowhere. And then they'll be like, oh, it's smoke from Canada, coming down. And I'm like, what? Like I've never experienced, I don't know, it's a lot of weird shit going on,
No, because we have that here too. And just like 5 minutes of just like pouring fucking rain, and then just the clouds are gone and it's like hot as fuck again for the next 3 days. And it's just like little spurts of just downpour.
That sounds like Florida weather. That's our summer weather is what we get. But this summer we haven't gotten a whole lot of rain. Like typically it'll we have like hurricane season from April to November. And in the hottest part of summer, which is June, July, August, it'll typically rain every day. Like it'll be hot, like 95 degrees, then it'll rain for like 20 minutes, then it'll be hot again. But over the last few weeks, probably maybe a few months, it's been, a heat index of 110, 99 degrees, but heat index of 110. And then it won't rain every day. It'll rain a little bit, maybe twice a week instead of our everyday rain. It's very interesting.
Yeah, they're I'm and you get on these TikTok algorithms or whatever, and this motherfucker is like, prepare for the storm of the century, because it's gonna be one of them ones this upcoming winter. I'm like, here we go. Like I'm working from home, but which is, I'm grateful that I ain't got to dig my car out of nothing. But
oh yeah, I missed that.
I know, I think my first year here in Philadelphia, it stormed really, really, really bad to where the snow came up to like the steps of the brownstones and everything. And I'm like, I ain't trying to experience that again. Stock up on your cans, people. Stock up on your cans.
We down here in the South, I think a lot of people down here are not used to, we get like an inch of snow, everything comes to a standstill. Now this past winter we had an ice storm that was about 2 inches of ice, and then like the rest was just snow. So we were like entrapped for about like a week. Now I know everybody else like, oh boy, bye. We had to be in the house, like we had to go to school. In that, but
I used to hate that because I grew up in Connecticut, and they used to.
Oh man!
I swear to God, you would listen to that radio for the school closing, and it would always. I had that principle to always get 1 hour delay. Everywhere else is closed. We got 1 hour delay. I used to hate that.
I don't understand why they consider it's like that whole thing that joke they say. Well, my car is buried in snow, but you still come to work, right? You still come to work.
They really are like that up there. I remember I literally was in a car accident, and the boss was like, well, so how late are you going to be? And I'm like, I'm going to the hospital.
That's what mine said too.
Yeah.
I pray. See, down here, they close everything up. Like, don't bring your ass out, period. Don't try to go to Target. Don't try to go to the gas station. If you do go to them places, you're going to be met with some angry ass workers. Like, the fuck you in here for? But I'm just saying that the snow and stuff down here has gotten a little bit more extreme in the last couple of years. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about like, y'all ain't used to this. We're not used to this. And it's just listen to the earth as it's talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And we're listening, like everybody here is listening to it, but the officials, there's no such thing as global warming. It's just a bullshit lie. Like, okay. So when we sit there, be on our dying breath, they're going to be like, it's no such thing as global warming. Get back to work. As we're dying, they're going to be so stuck on it. It's just ridiculous.
When you're saying that down south not being used to the snow, it was remind me of I was talking to a few people a couple weeks ago that are living in the UK, and they were talking about how most of the places there don't have air conditioning because they're not used to it getting that hot. And they're saying like it's 25 degrees, it's 30 degrees, and I have to like translate, so I have to look it up, and I'm like, well, how much did it? Oh, 85. I'm like, that's fall here. But because their bodies aren't used to it, they're like, there are videos of people passing out because they're just not used to that 85-degree weather.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Because isn't that mostly like foggy, and I don't want to be stereotypical. It's like foggy and cloudy in like, you
Mhm.
know, the UK. Because I call myself a bibliophile, not bibliophile. What they call them? Anglophile when it comes to
Mhm.
UK stuff. But it's only with pop culture. It's like when it comes to weather, I'm like, most of y'all are always in like gloomy stuff. So I can imagine it hitting 85 or even 90 degrees over there, and they're
Mhm.
just like, what the hell is happening? Because they're not used to that.
Oh yeah.
You
I only
know,
recently found out that a lot of places over there don't have thunderstorms. So like when you see, they'll see like videos on TikTok of Florida thunderstorms, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you guys okay?" And it's like, this is a normal thing here, but where they're at, they don't have thunderstorms, so it seems really extreme to them to hear those
mhm,
thunderbolts and stuff. Like,
It's extreme to
yeah.
me to hear the thunderbolts, because
oh yeah,
especially on the East Coast, it feel like it's cracking the ground over
because
here.
California doesn't really
Wow.
have those either, do they? Like
I,
thunderstorms.
I mean, you get them, but not as it doesn't feel like it's cracking the ground. Like
Mhm.
I literally felt like Thor was outside, just sharpening
Oh
his hammer.
wow.
That's how heavy it was feeling.
Mhm.
So
Jesus. Ugh.
yeah, yeah, but. But yeah, my next question for y'all would be now they have, of course, there's a theory out there of like Project Bluebeam and stuff like that, and we have like the technology, like we see like musicians, like I think Dr. Dre had a hologram of Tupac,
Mhm.
the other year at Coachella, and all these other people having holograms, and then you see in different countries they've got like these giant holograms or images of certain things as advertisements and things like that, and I'm sure we're going to see that more and more as the years go on. But if you saw a ship in the sky, and it was advertised on the news as this is alien ship in the sky, we don't know what it is, we don't know where it came from, would you believe it? Would you believe it at this point?
If it was only on the news, maybe not. If I saw, because usually if something that large scale is being seen in the sky, if I don't see like at least 20 different cell phone angles of it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna think it didn't happen.
No, well, this is all on the news, different news outlets, and it's all on TikTok, all on social media, Twitter, because Twitter is the first news source.
Mhm.
Twitter and TikTok knows, they'll give us the real before anybody else, at this point.
I would believe it to a degree because it's a lot of open AI shit out there. And just for example, somebody posted a picture of Renee Zellweger. They kind of like aged her face up a little bit and had her in like some pajamas and was like, "Oh, this is the first photo from the new Bridget Jones movie," and they have not announced a Bridget Jones movie yet.
Mhm.
I mean, we're in the middle of a writer strike and a
Yeah.
actor strike, so they don't have any damn. No, this has, but people believe that shit, and they're like, "We got a plan for next year to go see it." And I was like, now if somebody actually did put some on the news, like an alien thing or something like that, and knowing that they released all this information saying that hey, we did find a spacecraft, unidentified craft, and there was a being of unknown origin, of non-human origin in it, they will believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we're gonna. I feel like we're going to do the boy that cries wolf situation, but on a global scale with like AI. It's gonna be like people could be out here putting out fake alien reports and stuff like that, and then when they actually do infiltrate, we're gonna be like, "You're
Yeah.
lying," and it's gonna be over. It's gonna be because we're so used to people like putting out fake shit to the point where they actually do put something real happens. We can be like, "No, it's not." As a damn alien is like getting ready to crawl up our neck and go into our ear or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, no, it's not.
What about the gentleman that was on the he was testifying before Congress about what he saw?
Him.
Like he was on the news, and I think some people still don't believe him, even though he said they were biologicals. He didn't call them. And then he also refrained from using the term alien. He said
Mhm.
interdimensional beings.
I believe that because that was like you said, it was broadcast, but as far as like them actually showing a ship or something, like that's what fuck's gonna fuck up here. But when he said that, I was like, yeah, okay, I figured. It wasn't like, oh shit, it was like I figured, I figured because y'all have to. I mean, y'all have to keep this stuff secret because trust and believe. If I believe the only thing that came out of Trump's mouth that I did somewhat believe was this whole thing about like extraterrestrials and UFOs and stuff like that, because he decided to start. I mean, he tried to. I don't know if they're still working on it, like Space Force. I don't know if they're still working on it, but it was just like everybody else thinking like, why the fuck would you sit there and waste taxpayers' money to sit there and like guard space? But I mean, most of the fiction that we have, there's people out there like that. You have Starfleet. You have what's the Marvel version of that? They're gonna get more into it, and the Marvels coming out.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
not the Guardians, but it's kind of like it's Nick Fury is gonna be over it. It's kind of like what they did with Monica Rambeau. I forgot what they called it, but they're gonna be
I was going to say the Marvels, but I don't think. Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
It's not. It's an off branch of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's in space. There's a name for it. Sword. That's what it's called. Sword.
Yeah,
it's called Sword. That's going to be like their version of that. And then I believe in the DC is just the Justice League. You know what I'm saying? Like Justice League. International stuff like that. But you gotta have something like this set up, because if somebody do show up and they're like unannounced, it's gonna be like, okay, somebody's gotta be on top of that. They gotta be aware of that to make sure to report back. So outside of everything that Trump has did, because I don't like the motherfucker, but on that tip,
he'll spill the beans. He can't.
He can't keep a secret. That's the problem. It's just like when he said that, I'm like, oh, okay, you found some what? Okay, on that tip, he might be telling the truth on there, y'all, because he can't hold government secrets. So that's a government secret that I feel like he exposed, and it was just like, he just lying. Like, I don't know, y'all. I mean,
and that could also I just thought of another conspiracy theory that I maybe somebody's already thought of it before, but it just popped into my head. Maybe that could be the true reason why they wanted to get rid of TikTok.
That was
because they were trying to say, oh, it's a security issue. But if that was really the case, then they would be on Facebook's ass and they would be on Twitter's ass too, because they're worse actually. But then you saw the congressional hearing, and the dude was like, well, what about my money? The old man that was like, how am I going to get paid off of this? But the real underlying thing could be, they can't monitor TikTok the way they monitor Instagram and Twitter to take everything down. And that's why there's so many videos of UFOs on TikTok. They don't have the people, because it's not an American company. They can't take down the video. So now they're like, oh, well, we have to disclose because there's too many videos around the world of people capturing stuff in the sky.
That's what I was saying earlier in the app when we were talking in the chat earlier today. That was my theory. That was a theory that popped in my head, because I don't have TikTok, but everybody's constantly posting these videos on TikTok and they're sharing. I'm like, hell, that might be the main reason they're trying to shut down TikTok, is because everything's out on there. And maybe not just.
The algorithm is so much different on TikTok. Like maybe about a month ago, if you would have put France into Instagram or Twitter, you're going to see like, oh, maybe some people rapping in France. You might see maybe 1 or 2 news articles about the protests. And then you'll see like fashion and other things that are that we typically get from France. But if you typed in France into TikTok, you're going to see every protest, the people talking about why they're protesting. And it was about the young man that was killed by the police in France. All that was on TikTok. And the same thing with different countries. They don't filter out what's happening in other countries. So it's not like a smoke screen, like how Instagram kind of keeps you get a little bit of stuff that's international, but it's more to do with artists or models or stuff like that. But when it comes to like real people, how many people do you meet on Instagram that are from a different country? Or like it's kind of filtered or towards America only, whereas TikTok is not. You put up a TikTok video, a person might come underneath your video and they're in Pakistan say, hey, I like this part of your videos, you did such and such. It's really why I love it for that reason. I hope they don't change it.
Girl, you
Yeah.
made a
That.
believe out of me. Whew.
Mhm.
But what about you, Chelsea? What would you believe it if you saw it in the sky?
I just honestly I wouldn't care. And I say that in like even after the government said, you know, there's aliens and all that, the fact that the world didn't freak out, like
Mhm.
I'm gonna say a good portion, everybody I talked to was just like, all right,
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like I'd kind of believe it, but I'd want to wait until these aliens actually came down from the ship and told us what they wanted.
Mhm.
I don't really want the government dealing with it. That's what worries me because they're shady ass liars. And it seems like every piece of history they've told us is a lie. And there's always like a really dark past behind it. So, what
Oh yeah.
kind of deal have you been making with these aliens that you are hiding? Because you obviously fucked them over. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that the government screwed these guys over. They said you could have our resources, and the government somehow
Mhm.
did something shady. And now they're coming back and being like, listen, we had a deal and you went back on it. And anyway, I don't want the government talking to them. I hope if the aliens come down, they just kind of bypass the government and they're like, we're your government now. And we all say, okay. And the people who don't just get like the little zappy zap, like, you know, Mars
Mhm.
attacks, the little ack, ack, ack.
Yeah.
Like big bombs or anything, because these aliens have technology to just obliterate, you know, in a second.
Mhm.
So I think that'd be nice. That's kind of what I'd want. I'd just wait if I saw this ship and see what they have to say. And if they said we have to take over the earth and destroy your government, I think a good portion of people would be like, cool, you do
Mhm.
you. And then just see how they handle it.
Yeah, I'm like, so you're not gonna, as long as you ain't eating us or putting us in some type of slavery situation. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It can't be any worse than
Maybe a
what we got
zoo.
going
Like if
on.
you're going to feed me and give me like a nice, you know, place to live and I don't have to
Yeah,
pay for anything, but people just have to watch me all day. Like I'd be down for that. I'm ready for that. I've lived my life and I
yeah.
could
Well,
retire behind a cage.
the food be better,
Mhm.
because the
Exactly.
government does not know what the hell is doing. Every week they're talking about listeria outbreaks and all this
Mhm.
other BS.
Always a recall. Always a
Oh,
recall for something.
did you see that video about the I don't know what you would call them, genetically modified chickens that are grown in these little tubes in California?
Ew,
They put
no.
that I saw a clip of a video about it, and it was, like, from, like, Good Morning America or something. Let me see if that is
Oh my God.
on
Yeah,
my TikTok, or because I think my sister might have sent it to me. And I'm like, "Why is this not national news that they can just grow chickens in a tube?" And they just showed this metal canister so you can't see it, and I started freaking out because my imagination went wild. Because 'cause I'm like, "What if they're not regular chickens, but they're chickens without a head, but with, like, 6 wings and 4 legs and something crazy like that?"
That makes sense. It can
yeah.
I was
happen.
like,
Because I'm like, how does churches, Popeyes,
"Mhm,
KFC, the supermarkets, all these places? I'm like, there's not enough animals in the world. There's not enough farms in the world for all this shit.
mhm,
You
And
guys are.
not just that though, but it's like, you know, let's just say when they have like chicken allergies, when we had that chicken shortage for the wing shortage for was it last year or something like that, I freaked out,
mhm,
but a part of me was like, well, at least they ran out of chicken. Maybe there was some chickens that somebody who their supplier didn't have enough chickens. Maybe they died off something, and they couldn't supply, or they probably started charging more or something like that. I said, as long as I'm not eating something that's going to sit there and manifest itself in my chest,
Yeah.
and then I sit there and be like, yo, what is this inside me? Because I'm a chicken hawk. That cartoon Foghorn Leghorn, the little small chicken he be coming across. I tell people all the time, I'm a chicken hawk. I eat chicken. I love chicken.
Mhm.
I'm not embarrassed by that or anything, but I don't want to sit there and be like, hey, there's something growing inside me, and the last thing I know I had to eat was chicken. You know what I'm saying? So please make sure that y'all don't do no damn what they
okay,
call it.
I found the video. Imma hold up my phone. We're gonna do
5 billion pounds of red meat and chicken last year. But what if some of that meat was not raised on farms, but instead of high-tech facilities? Scientists say that could be good for the environment. for health, and soon it could be on menus and store shelves.
Nah, I'm good.
USDA has approved cell-cultivated meat to be sold to the public for the first time.
And people want to question vegan
There's the
options.
chickens inside of there.
Facility. Meat is grown using real animal cells and large bioreactors fed with nutrients. I recently got a tour of California-based Upside Foods, the nation's first and largest cultivated meat producer. You're making chicken in there. Yeah, so if you look at
That's spooky. That's spooky as hell. The fact they got a whole facility pumping out, genetically engineered chickens.
So you're saying in this factory you can make more meat.
Well, and like, what are the long-term effects of eating a genetically engineered chicken?
Yeah.
Like, you can sit there and say it's safe, but we've only dabbled in genetics.
Yeah, I know we eat genetically modified bananas because like real bananas have seeds in them, but the bananas we get don't have any seeds in them because they've been genetically modified. I think part of the reason why they do that with certain fruits is so that we can't grow them ourselves. Because most plants, if you're in this right climate, you can grow it yourself at home. But if they sell you plants with no seeds in them, you can't grow your own plants. You're beholden to go into the grocery store to buy fruits and vegetables. But this, I don't know what the ramifications of eating this is going to have on us. And notice how that should have been national news. That was a local California report, it looked like.
Yeah. And like, would that go into the ingredients list? Like, now do we have to look for like genetically modified chicken? Like, do you legally have to put that chicken is genetically modified, or is it real chicken? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why I'm hoping that they'll sit there and tell you on the packaging, like, yo, this is genetically modified chicken. That way you can sit there and just be like,
and not buy it and maybe lose money. Like, they want to keep it secret.
My sister says she's got an easy way to tell. When you start going to the grocery store and you keep seeing packs of chicken at $2, you're like, oh, that's that new genetically modified. It shouldn't be $2.
That makes sense.
Why is it so cheap?
That makes sense.
It makes sense. So we got
a whole lot of sense.
At the store, we got to sell one chicken. No, you don't. That ain't chicken.
So they tell them, wait a minute, hold up. It costs how much? Oh, get that chicken off the grill.
But again, that's on TikTok. That's not I didn't come across it on YouTube, didn't come across it on Twitter or Instagram, but on TikTok, people are sharing their local news that's not getting circulated nationally. That should have been a huge news story.
Yeah. Well, so that's the same when they built that black hole and they decided to turn on that machine, and like, it wasn't national news, it was just kind of some random news. I'm like, this seems like it should be a world, like,
and the teleportation, when they figured out that they could teleport,
build a black hole. Yeah. Granted, that's when things started getting wonky in the universe. I find once they turned it on and they're like, "Oh, it's glowing," and then everybody else is just.
That's what happened. That's what happened in Cloverfield Paradox. That's the reason why. That's why we got Chloe flying up, tearing up New York City, because somebody decided to play with a black hole thing. So
yeah, but like, why are you messing with that shit? Just leave it alone.
Yeah, I cannot deal with Cloverfield aliens. I hope in any situation we don't get that.
No giant kaiju of any form. We're not prepared for that. You would think we'd have some Gundam style stuff, because that's what in the 80s they told us we were going to grow up and have Robotech and Voltron and all that, and I haven't seen an exosuit yet. Waiting. They have some in development, but
this isn't Pacific Rim. This is not. It's not going down that way. But speaking of tech, do you guys think that aliens are in charge of tech and the advancements that we've seen, over the years? Because sometimes I think about it, I'm like, humans are smart, but I feel like, as dumb as the dumb decisions that we make, did we really come up with this shit?
I think they had to have done drops, because when you think about how long we've been on this earth and how slow we move towards technology, then all of a sudden Roswell happens in 1946 and we go from just barely making automobiles to now I have a computer in my hand that's like stronger than the
Right.
computer that took up a whole room in the 1960s. They've got to be doing tech drops because it just I don't want to the word of this I'm thinking of maturation, but it's not maturation. It's how fast our tech is moving. It's moving way
Mhm.
too fast. Even with the AI stuff, it's like who developed that so fast?
Right. And there was a season, the season of American Horror Story that really made me mad was the 10th season. They did the double billing, the double feature season. And the
Yeah.
second half of the season, they actually touched upon it because they had President Roosevelt. You know, they had like a alien storyline that went back and forth to the future, back and forth from the future to the past. And Teddy Roosevelt was dealing with the aliens that had landed on Earth. And him and his wife had a microwave, and that was technology that the aliens gave them to keep their mouth shut. You know, and they had like a lot of stuff that that's I was thinking to myself that maybe that was the only thing that I took from that season was that, because the technology just boomed all of a sudden, and just like we had like computers, cable TV, all this stuff,
That makes me think of the predictive programming again, because how did Gene Roddenberry come up with the idea that, okay, I'm gonna do Star Trek. I'm gonna make these people have communicators. I'm gonna make them have tablets. Like most of the stuff that they had in 1960 Star Trek is like what we have now.
Exactly. I'm just waiting for the transporter. That's what I'm just waiting for. If you got a transporter and you still end up being late to work, I can't help. You know what I'm saying?
Mark,
They have come up with the newer jets. They are saying that they're going to retire the 747s, the 787s, all those, and they are hoping within the next 5 to 10 years you'll be able to travel from US to Europe in 2 hours. Now I don't know what type of tech they got. Now it's probably the next alien drop that say, hey, y'all are still flying these old ass slow ass things. Let's help you out here. This is how you do this.
Listen, people working from home right now still late to work. So so it is what it is. It's definitely gonna be people late to work with transporters. It's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be interesting. Wait, did you have any thoughts on that, Chelsea? As far as the aliens and tech, whether they are in charge of that?
I think they're in charge of it, but sometimes I wonder, like, are they giving these people, like, when you talk about like the Star Trek thing, how this is all like from the past, like, are they actually coming down and giving these people ideas, like talking to them, or is it coming in your imagination? You know what I mean? Like, I sometimes wonder if all these, like, directors and writers and that, mostly writers, like, are they technically what you would call a prophet? And is a prophet just getting a message from an alien? Like,
that would be
these
hot.
writers, like when these writers see this stuff happen and they're like, holy shit, I wrote about that. Like, does it like boggle their mind? Like, is their mind blowing, or did they already know it was going to happen?
Like, because there have been times where writers have said that they got the idea from a dream, but is the dream really their dream, or was it placed in their head to come out?
Which brings us into like the whole dream world thing, because there's always like lucid dreaming and like astral projection and that, where I firmly believe, because I used to like dabble in that, like with the astral projecting, and then I watched Insidious and I stopped and I can't do it anymore. I got scared. But like when you walk around in there, you can, and that's why those movies are so creepy, because it very much is a lucid dream. It does a very good job of portraying it, because you are talking to people and you are hearing things, and you can tell the difference when somebody's talking to you and you should remember it, and when you don't. You know what I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it makes perfect sense.
So I just wonder if when they get these ideas, they're remembering them, because it's not really, you weren't dreaming, you were in that state of astral projection where the aliens could speak to you, right?
And that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense, especially because a lot of people are like, not discounting humans. There are some very intelligent people out there, but a lot of things are just like, how the hell did you come up with this? And you're still you came up with this, but yet you have trouble understanding the concept that everybody should have equal rights and all this stuff. So it's like where
Exactly.
where is this really coming from? Where is this really coming from? Now my next question would be, how do you guys like? Do you feel that there are, I guess, like people will say there's friendly races of aliens, and then there's like hostile races of aliens. And then I was watching something, Spirit Science. They did a little documentary on like the history of the world and the earth and all this shit, and they were talking about like the I think it was like the Anunnaki, or like it was a good alien race, and they were here, and they were trying to bring up our consciousness, and they were like just trying to help society in different ways. But then there were the reptilians that came in, and were just trying to take over society, and were bringing a lot of, they called it like male, I think it was male energy, because they said like uh I forget how they broke it down, but it was like pretty much like male energy versus like female energy or whatever. And they were just they were saying that those races were in conflict, and the reptilians eventually won, and that's why we get all these conspiracies about like these people on the stage. They're actually you know aliens, like they're actually reptilians, and that's why we got so much BS going on, because they're fulfilling their takeover agenda. So
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus type stuff.
yeah,
I'm just joking.
I mean, no,
I get what you're saying, because like I like the concept of yin and yang, which which posits that everything should be balanced. That if something is overwhelmingly masculine, it becomes a problem. If something is overwhelmingly feminine, it becomes a problem. That balance between masculine and feminine, and a lot of times people try to make it a gender binary, but I think it also means that balance within the individual. Within every individual, there should be a balance of what we would perceive as masculine traits and feminine traits within the same person, and that makes a more balanced individual. Although we change our minds about based on we changed our minds on what is masculine and what is feminine over time, because if you look back in history, like there was a time when everybody had long hair, so long hair it was considered both feminine and masculine. There was a time in America where pink was a boy's color, and then they decided that, oh, we're going to flip it and make it a girl's color. So it's arbitrary what we consider masculine and feminine anyway. So it's kind of a silly thing, but I do like that whole balanced perspective. And it makes sense that there would be more than one extraterrestrial. There's more than one planet. There's more than one solar system and universe. There's probably like, they probably have like a federation. They probably within that federation you gotta have a troublemaker. There's always a troublemaker in there. That's probably like, you know what? Those are just some stupid humans. Wipe them out and take their gold. And then the other one's like, no, they might be stupid now, but we could kind of raise their consciousness so they're not as stupid. And the other one's like, no, they're just gonna stay stupid. Like, why waste your time? I can picture this conversation happening.
Exactly. That's why I love Rick and Morty, because the shit that goes on Rick and Morty, it's like everybody on, even Rick, not even just Rick and Morty, but the other show, Solar Opposites. Like people are not freaking out that there's aliens walking on Earth. I don't think they'll sit there and freak out about, it's like, oh shit, this thing just showed up on Earth. What did we do? And then, but it's just the fact that when they sat there and there was a season finale where the aliens caught up with Rick and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then the aliens, like, like what Chelsea said earlier, like, yo, we're your new government now. So by the time Rick and his family get back home, they didn't already like got, oh, you came from what planet? Okay, here is your new job, and here's credits on food for this amount of months. And it was like everything seemed like it was peaceful, But then Rick came and took all. He made the currency on that they created zero, and they were like, "Oh, we can't do nothing now." So they just sat there and just left Earth. Like, so he kind of fucked up world peace, kind of, because it just.
Trash.
Rick
But
and Morty is wild anyways. Do you remember the episode where they were supposed to, it was like some type of intergalactic talent show, and you had to participate in order to save your planet.
Your planet.
They gonna come up with Get Swifty. Pull out your pants, shit on the floor. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
That's
it's
what you
like.
came up with?
But they were like, we like this shit. They were like, we like it. Y'all survive.
Thank you for joining us, Ivory-Trees.
Hey, Ivory-Trees.
In the building.
Your
sound.
Oh my gosh. I was like sweating trying to get here. Oh my gosh. Because I got off work and then I was like, I'm starving. Let me go to Subway. And then I ran and I scarfed it down. It was just, yeah.
I need some Subway.
Anyway, hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Yes, speaking of sweet. Now, as we were speaking on genetically engineered chicken, earlier. So you
I would come in on that point.
You can blame me. If there's somebody's gonna go on off topic, it's gonna be me.
That's funny.
But we're back on. We circled back around to being back on topic, and Tyrone had just asked a question about two different types of aliens, and then Mark was telling us about his theory based off of Rick and Morty.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like no matter if they're good or bad, I feel like the government will fuck it up. They'll sit there and show up and they're like, okay, cool, we have all this resources. Oh, you're low on this, you're having issues with your climate, we can fix all of it. And then the government turn around, depending on who's ever in office, be like, they're trying to kill us. And because they don't want any type of anybody telling them what to do. That's somebody else that's trying to tell us something that we want to that we don't need done. That's wasting this and that. Yes. We're going to come up with a story and have everybody on Earth be mad at them. Next thing you know, we're in an interplanetary war for like centuries. I'm just saying, man. Whether they're good or not, somebody's gonna fuck it up.
Yeah. Or it could be like, well, no, yeah, no. Or they could be like, okay, there was this one movie. I can't think of it, but it was actually pretty creepy because an alien race came down and started changing the atmosphere. Like, oh, we can make it better. We could do this and do that. But what it was actually doing was making the atmosphere for them to survive and take over. And I just was talking about that movie not too long ago, but yeah. So I mean, they had like a scout come down and plant something, and then they always have the alien in the basement somewhere, and but what happened was when it sprouted, some people in the area got sick and they started changing, and they appeared to have died, but they were changing on the inside to become like a food source that did get infected. And then they only saw like a small part of what was planted, but underneath was like roots that went through the entire planet. And so when it finally sprouted upwards, it completely changed the atmosphere. So people were dying in order for them to live because their planet was destroyed. So and they just thought, oh, they're just here to talk to us and whatever. No, we became the food source for them. And but they didn't know this was in the ground for years. And they didn't know that it actually was changing the environment for them. So that was crazy.
Oh, wow.
need to
I
find
want to
that
see that
one.
movie. That sounds
As
Me
soon as
too.
I can, I know it's on my watch list, and actually, you know what? I know where I think it is. It's on my other platform because I did a video. I think it was on TikTok. I did a video. So as soon as I figure it out, I'm gonna do that because it's gonna kill me. So I'm gonna look because I did it, and somebody was like, "Oh," like people started going to go look at it, and it was like, "That's scary," because the way it was so deceiving. And the scientists thought they had the upper hand, but really, no, they never did.
Did you guys get to see the video about the aliens or supposed aliens in Peru?
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to see that.
Freaked me the hell out.
I saw one on the subway. Like it was. Did you see that one?
I saw the one on the subway. I think that's for a movie. I
think so too.
That looked like just somebody in makeup. But the one in
I thought that
Peru
too.
is really creepy because they're calling them the face peelers, and a lot of the locals are saying like you could see the still image on that particular video, but there is a moving image of that video on TikTok of the people trying to move the body. But the way that there's no skin on the skull and the neck is exposed, but there's no blood and there's no like dried up blood, it looks like it's like something fake from a movie. It doesn't look like a real person. I could be mistaken, but it looked kind of fake to me. And there were some people also in Peru saying that they think that it's illegal miners trying to scare them so that they can mine for gold in places that they haven't been authorized to mine for gold.
That's some Scooby. This about saying some Scooby Doo type shit.
So
I thought so. I'm like,
there's a Great Dane and a stoner, and they'll solve this mystery.
So either there's a nefarious company that's trying to steal the gold in Peru, or there's some aliens actually peeling people's faces off. I don't know which is worse. Well, I think the face peeling off is worse. Yeah.
But aren't there those like lines in Peru that are supposed to be like an alien landing strip from when they landed like years ago to like mine? They apparently landed in Peru, mined it, and then just took off and never came back.
And they have pyramids there that are pretty similar to the pyramids of Giza.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe they came back to finish mining. Like, who knows? Maybe when they take off, like they could be gone for an hour, but on our planet, that's like however many years, right?
That movie is called Risen. Yeah, Risen. It came out in 2021. It was very interesting. Very. Yeah, a lot of people went on to go and check it out and was like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, yeah."
Okay, I'm sure I'm gonna put this on my list.
It almost have a like a Jesus Christ thing. That's why it's called Risen, because it is risen. But but it's not religious. It just has that kind of concept, and it's wild. It's crazy.
Tubi got our backs again. It's on Tubi.
Tubi. Shout out to Tubi. Now, Arbitrese, we asked everybody this question. If the aliens came down and they were like, you know what, we're only picking a few motherfuckers who have elevated consciousness, and for us to take you away, and you'll just be with us. You won't be on Earth anymore. You'll just be with us. Would you choose to stay with humanity, or would you choose to go on that ship?
Knowing how I am, I would ask a lot of questions. I would have to know, what is the purpose of them taking us there? Are they planning to do something else? Are they planning to take us to a different planet? Are we coexisting? Am I a food source? Will I be a pet in a cage? Are we procreating like together? Are we having alien babies? Like, I'd be like, because as a female, I got, I could hold babies. I want to know, what is the plan? Because if it's anything like the Twilight Zone, you got to ask questions. You don't know if you're part of a cookbook or not. But I wouldn't be annoying, because then they'll be like, "Oh, forget it, leave her," and let her just like burn down here with the rest of them. But I would ask logical questions, like very serious. Like, what is the plan? Is it happiness? Is it civilization? Is it like the knowing when they took those kids and they had a whole new life, you know, and the planet was burning up? Then yeah, I would be out. I'd be like, yeah, I don't mind. But I was like, can I take one thing though? I gotta at least take something. I would take my dad's picture because that's the only picture I have. Like something, you know, and then my cat, Clovis. So, well, I have 2 cats. I almost forgot the other one. So, but anyway, but yeah, I would ask on a serious note. Yeah, I would ask questions like, where are we going? You know, is it the black hole? Like, I don't know. Is it like Interstellar? I don't know.
Yeah,
that movie scares me. That's scary because it was so truth, like almost truth what could happen. Interstellar, that I don't know, every time I hear that music, it just makes me cry. It's such a, I don't know, have you guys seen it, Interstellar?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Yeah.
Oh, it's everything about it. It was like 90% or something like that scientifically accurate of a new area of what could be out there, new environment. So aliens kind of sense, like aliens could exist. We could exist somewhere else in a whole new tesseract dimension. It's wild, but yeah. But I would probably go to answer. Depends on what they say. And I can understand them, because if they're talking to me and I don't know and they can't communicate, I ain't going, because you don't know what they're saying.
It's funny you said about if we were going to be their pets. And another memory unlocked. There's a movie about humans being aliens' pets. It was from 1973. I remember I used to play it on cable. The U.S. You can see the little human in their hand. The U.S. title was Fantastic Planet, and the French title was La Planète Sauvage. But it's about us little humans being the aliens' pets until we learned how to do stuff for ourselves more. It's really interesting.
I've seen their post. I just didn't know. I've never seen the movie though. So
yeah, it's on Plex for free. Let me see anywhere else. HBO Max, Amazon Prime with subscription, but Plex for free. And it's not too long. It's 1 hour and 12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, straight to the point. My mom used to tell me there were aliens here. And she actually sat me down and said, there are aliens here. And I was like, Mom, you know, you acted crazy. You know, she was like, no, I seen them. They are here. And the way she said, I was young. I don't know. The way she said it was like frightening, but it was like she looked me dead in my eyes. And she said she'd seen them. And my mom wasn't on the drugs or anything. She was a very smart woman. Yeah. So that was interesting that she would say something like that. And then, you know, many, many years later, we got all this stuff going on. So
did she ever describe them or say when she saw them? Was she a child? It'd be interesting to hear her talk about it.
Well, my mom passed away in March.
So, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but she said the way she said they look like us but different. She never really got, I don't know if she really told me, because when she told me all this, I was probably in my early teens.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of skeptical because my mom was really into like superstition, and you know, she's from the South, the whole voodoo and all that stuff. So it was kind of like, you know, I don't know. But she said, and she was a nurse, and she dealt with all kinds of bodies that come in, because she was like the head nurse for the psych ward. So it made me like, maybe they're psycho, but no, she said, no, they're here. They look like us, but they're different. She said, I can't explain it, but they're different. And that was the only thing I remember.
Very interesting.
So I don't know. It'd been interesting, like but then she had a stroke, and so she couldn't, wasn't all there
Yeah, it affects
afterward. But if
their
she, I
memory.
could be like, Mom, elaborate on that. But yeah, so I don't know. That's all she said. I believe so. I believe they're
Yeah,
here.
I believe her.
We're aliens. We're
Yeah.
on this planet floating. You telling me we're the only ones here? Nah.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
no way. There's no way.
1000%. 1000%.
We
Yeah.
haven't even finished exploring this planet. There's stuff in that sea that we don't know about.
Listen.
Yeah.
That we were going to leave alone. Don't be bringing that shit up here. That's how you get a Godzilla.
Well,
Yep.
billionaires can't leave the ocean alone.
Can't leave it alone.
Well, we know what happened to some of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to
Mhm.
space now. Did
Mhm.
you hear about that? So now they're making a submarine to go to the space.
Yeah, because the
Well, not a
Orcas
submarine,
stop
but
it. Get the fuck out of here. So now they got to go to space.
and they're going to find something and bring it here. That's why I feel like half these diseases and stuff like was discovered somewhere else. And then they brought it down here because they're always taking soil, parts of things out there. It's like it's out there. That's why we have a layer around the earth to keep out, and you bringing it here.
Yes.
And look at us. We're getting sick, viruses taking us out. I mean, it doesn't make sense to have a planet to have that kind of stuff. If we're here, we should be immune. We should be, I don't know. I just think they're bringing things that shouldn't be here.
Yeah. Because what was that?
Or creating things, because there have been some
Yeah.
Reports that there was a couple doctors from Massachusetts that were traveling back and forth to Wuhan to do their little experiments, and then when shit hit the fan, they were like, "Oh, that wasn't us. That was China. We didn't do nothing. We didn't see nothing."
Lies and
Like, no,
deceit.
your asses were over there messing with stuff in the lab too.
Exactly. And then they said the polar caps are melting, of course. And they said they discovered some type of worm or organism in one of the things. And I'm like, it was frozen for a reason. Y'all trying to have the Thing 3 up in here or some shit like that.
The Thing 3. Ain't that the truth? There's a movie called Life. I don't know.
Yes.
I remember that one.
The acting, is like whatever, but that was scary. I was actually scared because that was too close to real. They're out there bringing an organism. Oh, it's like you said, like that worm is just, out, and they're shocking it and bringing it back, and it was able to adapt
to the show.
Everything. It was like there was no end to that, and then it came down here, like I, been complaining about, and then just wiping us out. Because think about it: if they're supposed to find traces of water on other planets, traces of life on other planets, rather, what happened to them? Because how is just one planet, us, with life? That it doesn't make any sense when you have a row of all these planets with nothing on there, just bare. Maybe they were like us, and over time, they just got infected with something and just wiped it out and changed the environment. Because maybe the planet did have trees and stuff, or that could sustain the atmosphere wherever it is. But when the plants and when the people and the animals die off, the ecosystem change. Now look at Jupiter. Now look at, that would happen here if we all died off in the.
Well, it could very well happen here. We mentioned earlier in the stream about Bolsonaro pretty much burning down the rainforest for profit. He's just selling off plots of land and not recognizing that rainforest is responsible for a lot of our oxygen. So while you're killing off oxygen to get money, you can't spend that money when you can't breathe anymore. Like they're not thinking things through
at all.
At all.
Well, and what worries me is all these rich people now have the technology to go to space, but we technically don't really have any laws or rules that say you can't bring shit back. You know what I mean? Like, as of right now, I could get into a spaceship. I could go to fucking Jupiter and I can bring back whatever worm I want and keep it as a pet. And legally, I don't have to tell anybody. There's no like,
Mhm.
you know, security I have to go through before I come back to Earth.
And as a resident of Florida, I can tell you how horrible that is because we have anacondas now. We have African murder hornets, crocodiles, all kinds of stuff that is not native to here, but people
Wait a minute,
brought
you
them
said
here.
anacondas in Florida?
Yes. Yes, in the Everglades. Yes, we have
I will.
because
I will.
people buy these exotic pets, and then when they can't take care of them, they let them loose. And now we have a problem with that, where like we literally have anacondas and crocodiles and alligators all fighting. And now there's also sharks swimming through the Everglades. So I don't. If you go on a fan boat there, don't. Why? Don't do that anymore. It's not safe. In my opinion, it's not safe. But yeah, we got all kind of stuff in Florida now that was not native here, and because the climate is such, it's a tropical climate, it's easy for these creatures to survive here. And yeah, just take that and what Stitch Keeper just said about just amplify that by 1,000 if they're able to do that from space.
It's funny because I watched the show To Catch a Smuggler, and they will, if you bring some plants or some food from, let's say you went to Mexico and you came back with some like just some stuff that was grown in the garden, they would throw all this shit away if they find one bug on it. They find one bug on it, all this shit's going thrown away. You don't care how much money you paid for it, like can't bring it here. It's for safety, American safety. But like you said, they could go into space and find stuff. They can go to another country and find a worm. This is for scientific research. It's fine.
Yeah.
Girl.
I don't trust the scientists anymore. As a kid,
Listen.
Yeah, but as an
I
adult,
trust Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah,
he's the only he's the only one. He's truth. He's truth.
Yes.
But that's just, it's just crazy. Okay, so aliens. I don't know how far you guys have gone, but we always get the little green man, the little gray man with the big eyes. Have you ever found out what was the theory about that? Like, why do they look like that? I've never found.
I read one theory that the grays that we see are not the aliens. That's their androids that they send to collect information.
Mm-hmm. That's the androids.
Mm-hmm. That's the one theory that I've read. I don't know how true it is, but that's the only thing I've read about why some people see grays and why people don't.
And they're like, make them like that, make them look like that, so the humans will be so freaked out and just won't ask too many questions.
That's wild.
It makes sense though.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to make them look non-intimidating and non-threatening. That's why people always say they're little green men, because they're like 4 feet tall with the big eyes. Whereas like the video that I shared today, that's one of the people. There's been other people that also described aliens that way too, as being 7 foot tall black people. So like,
I did see something about that. I just recently. Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Are we prepared for it?
No.
No.
As a society, no.
I think we're prepared.
You think so?
I think we've all had enough of like I'm saying, if aliens came down and tried to take over the government, I just have good faith.
On that tip, maybe, yeah.
Of this world would be like, you know what? Cool. Like, let's see what you got. I think we're prepared. Mentally, emotionally, as prepared as we're going to be.
Yeah.
Like, look at all the other shit we've dealt with. I think we got this.
I guess you just got to watch out for your neighbors when some shit like that pops off, because you may have someone who's like super duper religious and may start trying to start some religious militia and
I'm from PEI. It's nothing but like potatoes and Jesus out here. Like, but I can take them. I think I could take them. I look at all my neighbors sometimes. I'm like, if you turned into a zombie, even like I could take you. I think that's just what I wonder every time I walk into a place. I'm like, could I take them if they turned into a zombie?
I really think we're all just tired on this planet, regardless of whatever you believe. Because that was so funny when when people were talking about, oh, the aliens, do you see these spaceships? And no one gave two shits. No
Yeah, that's
one
what I was saying.
cared.
Nobody cares.
It was like, I still got bills. Do I still have to go to work today? I mean, I still got to get up. I still got to feed the pets and deal with the kids. I mean, is all this going to change? No. Well, they just got to pay taxes like everyone else.
Yeah, are they paying taxes? That's what I want to know. You know?
That is funny. That is so funny. But then again, after all that was happening, I was like, what are they trying to like share, like cover our eyes from? Like, what is really happening? Because I always feel like, oh, the aliens are here, but then they're like, you know, embezzling, you know, like, have you noticed like something's always covering up something? I don't know. This planet, I'm done.
We talked about that. The aliens was a cover up for the genetically modified chicken grown in canisters.
Yes.
We just looking at that today. They didn't show us what the chickens look like, but they showed us the canisters that they're grown in.
Oh wow! I didn't hear about the canisters, but I did hear about steaks.
Oh, I didn't hear about the
Yeah,
steaks.
I saw the
Oh,
steaks on TikTok today.
Yeah, the steaks. But then again, we've probably been eating that. I mean, if you go to Burger King, McDonald's.
Oh, McDonald's definitely. And I can tell you why. I tried to feed a chicken McNugget to my cat who loves chicken. This cat, if you're eating wings, if you're eating chicken breast, this cat is in your face being your best friend for a piece of chicken. That cat would not touch a chicken nugget from McDonald's. I thought I was being, you know, nice and give him a little piece. That cat looked and said, "What the hell is that? I'm not with that." As soon as that cat said, "That's not chicken," I know it's not chicken.
That's yeah, believe the pets. They tell the truth. That's crazy.
Oh, the chat's going wild. We got to catch up on there.
Oh yeah. We got a lot of activity. We got a Valiant Thor. Thanks for stopping by. The aliens are here. You know, at work, random channel surfing, having lunch, drinking beer, and saving the world.
That's a good day.
We got Bobby in the building. Happy Wednesday,
Bobby?
Hey,
Thank you for
Bobby.
stopping by. You know, Brian, he mentioned extraterrestrials, almond beings, Anunnaki, the Turu, Elohim, bronze skin, woolly hair folk, all the same folk, perhaps. Perhaps, Brian, perhaps. We were talking a little bit about the Anunnaki earlier, you know, because there's a lot of different theories and a lot of channels dedicated to this topic, and all of them have spooky, dramatic music in the background for their clips. So it just, you know, brings you into it, sucks you into it. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot, you know, which goes into the other question. Well, we had asked everybody. I want to ask you, Iva Trees, as well. If you saw a ship in the sky, you know, would you believe it? Because, you know, we have all this technology for, you know, to project things and, you know, holograms and virtual reality and stuff like that. So would you believe if on your television and on your TikTok and your Twitter, you know, there were certain things, would you believe that it was an actual spacecraft, or would you think that the government or the Illuminati, quote unquote, is just trying to herd the sheep?
Well, see, now I have to ask questions to myself. Well, it depends. So if it's saying it's over LA, New York, I would try to see if I could see it. I would go outside. Can I see it? Is it something? But then again, I probably wouldn't do anything. You know, I would check TMZ. Like, I would be like, okay, because they're always on top, and CNN. Like, is it on there? If I don't see nothing, I'm finna watch TV or something. But let's just say it is. It you know, it's like showing up everywhere. I don't think I would panic. I wouldn't do anything because they're here. It's like, what can you do? Yeah. Unless they're like Skyline Aliens, Darkest Hour, Independence Day. I mean, it just depends, you know. There's nothing you can do when you can panic, you know, raid the stores. I mean, it won't matter if they're sucking you up in a vacuum or something. So I would believe if it's everywhere, but I wouldn't do anything. I don't know. I just wouldn't do anything. I would just stay in the house because people are stupid. They'll be out there doing whatever, and make sure my doors are locked and weapons are around because, you know, it's crazy. But I wouldn't do anything. I'll just stay on the news, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I would do. That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do if they're here like that.
I mean, I guess I'm always weary of my neighbor, you know, when things like this happen, especially because people are, like you said, people are crazy out there. People are a little loopy, and a lot of times, you know, people will believe what they see, you know, like even with all the technology that we have right now with PS5 and, you know, just virtual reality and all that, if they projected, because they could be like, okay, buy 8K, you know, buy an 8K television, and an 8K television, for all we know, could have projection technology to where you don't even need the glasses. They just haven't revealed it to us yet. And then next thing you know, one day you turn on a damn TV and you see their TV ain't even on, and you see a damn demon in your living room, and you know you thinking like, oh shit, it's time, you know, but it's because they didn't reveal to us that, hey, it's that technology is here, it exists, and it's released on a mass scale through this 8K device, you know. And they just trying to fool the people, you know. They're just trying to fool the people.
They would do that in like a commercial too. To like, there's like a commercial, like you said, a demon just pops out of your TV.
Yeah, see, they're showing us. They're showing us.
Yeah, that's. But there's so much technology, you know, even right now on StreamYard, somebody's looking at us that's not in this group because they got to make sure we're not doing nothing crazy or something. You know, I mean, we're forever monitored, you know. Back
Which is
then,
scary.
Yeah, back when they didn't have stuff like this, you're in your house. I mean, people would call you on house phones, you know, or pager. It depends on when you got it. But once the internet and, you know, phones and like got advanced, it's just, we're forever watched.
Oh yeah.
You know, when people say, "Oh, I don't want to do this because the government know you where you at all times until you're dead."
That's how I feel about the people that are like, I don't want to do ancestry DNA because the government's going to get my DNA. If you've been to the dentist, if you've been to the hair salon, if you took a P test for a job, if they wanted your DNA, they would have it. If you clicked your fingernails and threw it out, they can go and get that. They don't. If they want your DNA, they can get it so easily. It's not even funny.
Thank you.
They get it the day you're born when they're taking blood.
Yeah, I remember because my mother said that they didn't give me back the umbilical cord or the placenta, so they got your DNA.
Yeah.
Or the people who post on Facebook or Instagram like, I do not give Facebook permission to, you know, utilize.
Exactly. But you're on Facebook. You already gave them permission.
You didn't read the fine print when you opened your account. The fine print says that they have access to certain things, but you just click accept. You didn't scroll through all that and read everything that was in that user agreement.
Does anybody read those?
And there's probably somebody behind the desk at Facebook laughing like, we got another idiot around here.
And then with the cell phones, people are like, well, I don't want to. Like, I remember this was funny. Somebody said, I don't want to join TikTok because it's gonna collect my information. My cell phone, I swear to God, is always listening. I've had conversations with people. Opened up my phone, looked at something. It's an ad for something I was talking about,
right?
Not something that I was scrolling or Googled. Something I was verbally talking about pops up on my phone as an ad. So that it's already listening to you.
And that was years ago.
Too.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Now it's what I'm thinking. I don't even be saying it. I'm like, it's what I'm thinking. And I was talking to Jaleesa not too long ago about this because sometimes the algorithm will post up things that you're maybe thinking about your partner. And I'm like, and we were talking and we're like, yo, if you're not careful, this can start arguments, and this can, like, you know, break people up and all. It's just all sorts of things, because the algorithm is so in your mind. It's so in your mind. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But what type of technology is doing that? Like, I can understand how it's happening, because we're pretty much have our phones on our hips all the time. Like, I do turn my phone off when I sleep, but it does sit on my nightstand. Just
I'm
you know,
guessing it could be an AI, because like with Google Assistant, I was learning, because my mother's going through some visual impairment, so she attends classes to help her use her technology without having to look at it. And one of the instructors were talking to her about Siri and about Google Assistant, how your phone learns you. The more you use it, the more the phone learns who you are as a person, and the AI starts to predict what you're going to do, what you're going to look for. It's like literally just learns your personality.
That's scary. Oh God.
And things you buy and things you look at. I mean, I think I was looking at something on Amazon, and then, you know, I logged out, you know, from the computer, and I got on my phone, and I was scrolling through Instagram, and then I was like, wait a minute. That's an ad of something so on Google, and it does it on Facebook. I mean, it's wild. It happened on YouTube on my TV. I was looking it. There's no escape as long as I got an email, because your phone, if you have an Android, it's powered by Google. So whatever you look at on Google,
I have a Google phone.
You carry it with you. So there's no escape. And then you have to think, okay, what about the aliens? Like, how much technology? And then they could get a hold of our satellite trash that's out there, and they could just wipe us out with a simple virus. You know, and it's just, we're just all doomed.
The technology originally.
Yeah. What if they're using the AI in our phones to learn about us?
I
That
think
they're just collecting data to figure out, okay, how do these people tick? How do they work? What do they think? How do they feel? What causes them to war amongst themselves? What causes them to believe things? What causes them to disbelieve things? Like, it's a perfect tool for them to learn everything they want to know about us.
And to manipulate our decision making, you know, and just to push us, you know, because it could be used to also to push us to consume more and just to fulfill certain agendas. Because I know that if I go to the doctor, I got to tell them, okay, I'm having issues with this, I'm having issues with that, or else they're not going to know. But I was laughing because I'm on TikTok, and like, I'd be like, oh, they'd be like, you got a problem in your side, this is what you need to do, or you got an issue with this is what you need to do. And I'm like, damn, that's exactly what I'm dealing with right now. And I didn't even say anything to anybody. I didn't speak it to myself. I didn't speak it to, you know, Jalise. I ain't speak it to nobody, but the algorithm already knows already, you know. And it's just like, wow, this is spooky. This is very spooky.
Could it, okay, I'm gonna think outside the box. Could it be we're always bombarded with this advertisement with all these things, but unless we have a specific problem, we notice that is in that relation? Like, think about it. Like, my sister has a red car, and a brand new car. Oh, okay. But then you start seeing that car often, but it's always been there. It's just now it's in your mind. Maybe something, we are always bombarded by things like that. And then when your side, you could be sitting there, oh, my side hurt.
And it could be also target marketing, because there's probably like, oh, you passed 30, you probably feel this.
I know, right? But that could be, as I mean, I don't know. That could be true too. I mean, I've started, I don't know. I think
I
it's
mean,
just
I feel like it's a lot of it's malicious though, especially like what we're seeing now with like mental health. Because I'm a huge advocate for like mental health and everything, but now you
Yes.
go online and you're seeing all these people talk about like, oh, I've got this and oh, I've got that, and next thing you know, you're feeling like, damn, I got this and I got that, and it's just, I feel like it's making people more. So instead of actually seeking professional help and actually getting diagnosed and talking
Mhm.
things out, they're going online and it's like WebMD, just
Yeah.
falling down that
Mhm.
that
Oh,
rabbit hole.
WebMD will make you think you're dying.
man,
Mhm.
I remember when it came out, everybody was dying.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down. But
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think with the algorithms the way they are now, I don't think they're telling us exactly just how deep this shit
Mhm.
actually goes, because even now they got, I don't know if you guys saw the pictures, but they can take two people, and these two people could be together and actually have had a child, and the AI will actually produce like what your child would look like. And then some people are like, actually, here's what AI produced, and here's what my child looks like, and it'll be the same shit. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, but this is
Now
scary.
that's very scary because there can be so many combinations. Because
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
within like um, fraternal twins, you can see that they have the same genetic components, but it configured in two different ways.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
wild to be able to do that.
yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy. It's
Mhm.
all over TikTok. I think it was like a trend. It's probably still a trend, but people were
Mhm.
just, they were posting up these AI babies, and it was just like, yeah, here's what your kid would look like, and then they
Mhm.
would show pictures of their real kid, and I'll be like, oh,
That's
this is
crazy.
wild. Yeah,
Mm.
this is
Well,
wild.
even with the AI, like who's to say if I'm out grocery shopping and like the security camera gets my face and AI decides I'm going to turn this into a person and make a movie, like, and then you'd end up getting like no royalties, but there'd be like no proof that was actually you.
Mm.
And they could just be taking whoever the hell they want off the street and being like, that
Mhm.
person looks good or that person looks good for this and that. And
Yeah, because Walmart is already
crazy.
cataloging faces. Like when you come in, it catalogs your face, um, so that if, in the future, because what they've been doing is like rather than just catching somebody shoplifting the first time, they try to wait till the person accumulates over $500 worth of theft before they arrest them, so they can get them on felony charges. And in some states, it has to be 1,000. So they'll just catalog the person's face and let them keep stealing and stealing until they get to that amount, and then they book them. I don't know what the purpose of that is,
Just to be
Wow.
but
shady assholes. Like it's fucking
yeah.
Walmart.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's standard, because I know even with the post office,
Mhm.
like they do that, the postal inspection service, if they see you shipping drugs through the mail, they won't call you out. They'll be like, oh, check this package. This got weed in it or whatever, or cocaine or whatever the hell's in the package. They're like, let it go through, let that person pick up the package, and they'll let them do that for like however long or however many times, and then until they build up a big enough case, and then they'll go and get you. That's
Mm.
how they do
Well,
it.
shite. I did not know that.
Mhm,
But that's drugs.
mhm.
This is like vapors or like here's
Yeah,
food.
it is
You know what I
weird.
mean?
Even the whole thing with across different states with them suddenly deciding that they're not going to arrest shoplifters anymore until
Oh
they
yeah.
just, yeah, like what is that
Mhm.
about? That they're then they want to produce these stories that all these kids ran up in the store and stole stuff. Well, they found out that you stopped stopping shoplifters. So if
Yeah.
they're in dire straits, and right now a lot of people are, they don't want to. We kind of live in this kind of, I don't know whether it's a mental health thing that we pretend that everything's okay when it's not. Maybe it's a
Mhm.
self-preservation thing to act like everything's fine when it's not. And the
Mhm.
youth are not able to do that as well. So when they run up in these stores as a group, it's like a collective consciousness that, okay, we've been suffering. Just went through a pandemic. We got to do active shooter drills, and no one's giving them mental health services to deal with these things. They're just supposed to go on about their life like everything's normal, And then when they act out and say, I'm just going to take what I want because life is screwing me over, then we go, oh my God, why are the kids doing this? Why are the babies doing this? And it's like, well, they're kind of pushed to their emotional limit.
Lunacy, just like everybody who wants to the teachers to have guns and all that. I'm like, that's a fucking horrible idea, because all you're gonna do is, I mean, the students you're gonna have teacher versus student, and then you pull a gun out on a kid, the parents gonna come up there, you know, and it's gonna
pull
be
guns
another
out on them,
situation.
and it's gonna be a shootout. Yeah, it's just not.
They made a sci-fi movie. It was called The Class of 1999, where the teachers had guns and they were fighting students. And then the sequel, the teachers were replaced by androids, and one of the androids was Pamela Greer. I always remember that.
Yeah, well, I would be in that class.
Yeah, and it was the teachers had guns. They were androids, and they could mess up the students.
But just think about, like, if someone, you know, in the future was just like, you know what, Ivory's, I love her content, I love what she does, so I'm going to digitally impose her face, you know, AI on my face, and then I'm going to take her voice as well, and then I'm going to create a channel, and I'm going to force the algorithm to produce all these numbers. So next thing you know, this motherfucker got billions under Ivory's name, and, you know, just what she does. And then the real Ivory's is like, hey, I'm the real me. And then the one that's digitally imposed is like, no, you guys don't listen to that one. You know, block this account.
You just described the movie Cam. Did you see Cam?
No.
Oh yeah,
Cam,
right?
That's exactly what happened in Cam.
I've heard of Cam, but I haven't.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, it was on Netflix. It was about a girl who was a live streamer, but she did the type of like hot tub live streams that they do on Twitch, or kind of borderlining on OnlyFans type of content. And that's exactly what happened in the movie. Like an AI impersonated her and started doing live streams 24/7, which, you know, a human being can't do because we're human. You got to go to sleep. And it was all her subscribers migrated over to the fake account and was paying that person all the money. And she was locked out of her account, and it was an AI that was just did everything like her. Same voice, same mannerisms, outfits, everything. But it was an AI, and nobody knew. And what was funny was she found out that somebody else that she knew from streaming, that happened to them, and they had died, and no one knew that they died because the AI was still streaming every day.
That's
scary. It's a movie called Cam.
Ooh, that's scary. That is scary. But besides all the scary stuff with AI and but we still need not AI. Well, you know, in a way we kind of need technology now. I don't know. What do you guys
I think it can be helpful. And just from my own experience, because I have ADHD, which makes me have really bad memory issues. And over the last few years, having access, or probably last decade, having access to Siri and to I don't want to say her name, the Amazon dot over there, when I tell her to remind me of stuff, it has improved my life 100%, because I would forget so many things, and having that technological help, it helps a lot.
Yeah, it's scary, but it is helpful. It is helpful, you know.
Everything is scary. Aliens, us. So I used to think we were aliens, but we got brought here and we became the virus, and the planet was trying to get rid of it. Like the planet's alive and it's like, oh, I got these chicken pox, but they're us, and it's trying to come up with something, an immune system to get rid of us. That's why we get sick and die, you know, from different diseases and stuff. I used to think that a long time ago. I know it sounds kind of weird. It sounds like a movie.
No, it doesn't sound weird. It doesn't sound weird.
It sounds pretty accurate, you know.
Yeah, because they always they I don't know if you guys seen this, but recently they discovered that plants feel.
Yeah.
It was always that thought, but then they discovered they actually feel feelings, and emotions and stuff like that. And it's like, maybe it's not a plant that we're looking at.
They respond to music too.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe they're people, but to us, they're plants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that sounds kind of weird, but
no, they're alive. They're growing. They stay growing. I said the other day I was on a live stream and somebody brought up vegetarians, how a vegetarian would be like, oh, well, that animal was alive until you killed it. And I'm like, that carrot was alive. It was growing until you killed it. You pulled it out of the ground and you ate it. Mm-hmm. We can't hear them scream, but it doesn't mean they don't feel pain just because we can't interpret it or we can't. Yeah.
Actually, somebody said that animals like dogs and cats can hear plants.
Oh, wow.
I would believe that. It's a lot of stuff.
That's why cats are so fucking sus all the time, because plants are yelling at them. That's probably why they eat them.
Yeah, that's scary.
That would be a wild movie.
I know. I'm looking at my. That's where
I can think of a movie for every scenario that Tyrone brings up. That's The Happening.
That's what I was
going to say that.
Yeah, that's The Happening.
But see, this happening makes sense. That movie didn't. I mean, no. I mean, I get what it was trying to do, but I had a problem.
Was that the one where everybody was killing themselves?
Yeah. It was supposed to be that the plants gave off a pheromone or something, and it messes with your chemical makeup and it creates you to unalive yourself. Mm-hmm. So the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, okay, I get that concept. That's actually pretty cool. What was bothering me it was like the wind. So I'm saying, so are you telling me not only the plants is coming up with this whatever chemical, but the wind is in cahoots to blow it? No, but come on now. Because remember how they're standing there and then it's like the wind's blowing? Yeah. So the earth is helping the plants. They didn't describe the movie well. They didn't capture that well. Because see, if that was part of like, if he would have made it the entire planet is like coming up with this chemical and they're trying to kill, then it's like, oh, this is creepy, But it was like the plants are killing us. And then then we're in the groups, let's break up. It was like, how does the plants know to count in the wind? There's 3 here, 2 here. I mean, it was just,
too much.
Yeah. If you're going to do a movie like that, go all the way. But yeah.
I would love a movie like They Live, but you put the glasses on and you actually get to see like the plants or hear the plants thoughts or hear the plants talk, like something like that.
That could be funny. Like you wearing your best outfit, you put the glasses on. Oh, she fat or he's too short. It's like, who said that? What? Insulting plants. That'll hurt your feelings. That's that's how they kill us. They insult us bad. But anyway, that's funny. That could be a spoof or something. But anyway, but that's creepy to know that all these plants that's so weird.
Now, a question that I had for you guys, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with like water spouts and things of that nature. And I was on TikTok and there were people saying that the water spouts were actually like cover-ups for UFOs refueling themselves. Like they were saying like they had like jean jackets in the clouds, refueling themselves,
Did you see that TikTok video that had the water spouts? It was like 6 or 7 of them in a row along this beach.
Yeah.
That's what looked really wild because I'm used to seeing, a water spout by itself in different places, but this was like a row of water spouts.
Yeah, it's like every once in a while you see a water spout or a tornado and it branches off. You see maybe 1 or 2 branching off from that, but to see in a row, it's like, come on now. Come on.
I know, it's like they're not even trying anymore. They're just going
You know,
What are we
when
gonna
you mentioned the water spouts, it just reminded me of Nope, because they couldn't see it, but you could see the spiral go up, and I was like, that's wild.
Have you guys seen any weird clouds since watching Nope?
I have, but
I don't know
if it's
whether
the
that
same
got. I don't know whether that just opened my eyes to looking at that, or whether that was always there and I just didn't notice it until the movie. But yeah,
The mystery cloud that doesn't move, that stays. You don't know. No.
I'm gonna be honest. Ever since a kid, like I was mentioning before about the trees, it was the same shit like that with me with clouds. Certain clouds, like I would always think like there's gonna be a cloud hand that's gonna reach out and grab me, or just always some like I watched a lot of tornado movies growing up. Like I wanted to be a meteorologist at one point or whatever, and and even to this day I still have like nightmares about tornadoes and shit like that. But the clouds just freak the hell out of me, so that's why I see in Nope that scene where it was hovering over the house, and the blood and everything. Nightmare. So I cannot with clouds. Like I understand they got to be up there, but I cannot with clouds, especially on a windy day when the motherfuckers is moving fast. I'm like, okay, slow down.
Well, I like the clouds on a hot day. They covering up that sun. I'll give that's the only time I accept them. But I don't know. I took a class about clouds. I don't know why in college. It was weird. And you learn how they the way they look signifies that something's going to happen. It doesn't have to be bad. It's just how it changes. And there's some frightening looking clouds that were in the book that we haven't even seen yet. Wow. Like there's some I don't know. I can't describe it. It's like they ripples, but they're thick. And there's a thunderstorm, but or tornado. And after I took the class, I would start looking at the skies. Like, oh, okay, I get it, or whatever. But some of them we haven't even experienced yet. That they come, during tropical storms or something. But I know like Florida, Texas, like where mostly hurricanes. I can only imagine how it looks during those storms and stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe hurricanes are the ships. No, I know it's kind of like it's a disc with a hole in the middle, and it just I don't know. And it's
possible,
and it's going across and it's taking people on the land.
Oh, wow.
It's possible, especially now I'm thinking, I'm like, damn, even with these tornadoes, because especially like when they do manifest, it's like, are they UFOs, just doing too much? Y'all doing too much up there.
The most.
Yeah.
Sean in the chat, that's a good point. He writes, the earth has shifted because we weld too much water. And it reminded me of something my grandmother said. My grandmother's 95 years old, and she said that it's not global warming, it's the earth axis has moved. I don't tell me how she knows this or how she came up with it. She just said the tilt of the earth. She said the earth was like this and now it's like that. And I didn't question it.
She's right though, because the axis has been moving, so she's right.
Wasn't the earth slowing down? I thought I read that somewhere that we're actually like going slower. And I'm like, that's kind of a big problem. That should probably be global news, but no.
Exactly.
If the Earth's rotation slows down, if the Earth's rotation slows down, does that make us age faster or slower?
I've been telling people that when 2020 happened, I didn't gain a year. At first for a long time I was not claiming the age I turned in 2020. But I I can't keep doing that because official stuff and everything. But I think that's when the Earth. It's when they kind of reported that the Earth was like slowing down and stuff was in 2020, and it was like, what else do we need? What else? It's like
time just hasn't been right. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just off. There's just something off in the past year, maybe year and a half. That's just
okay. Think about it.
Right.
I don't know what time it is, but it's like 7:36 and the sun is still out.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just, I mean, I know you guys are 3 hours ahead, but think about that. At 7 something, it's like, it's hot. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just weird. When the earth drops from the soul, I hope I'm dead and gone. I do not want to suffer getting blown off the planet or sucked up. Some weird, but then I'm still young and we're still messing up the planet. Aliens are coming. It's like, why do I have to be here during all this chaos? It's just
it seems like the sun rises later too. Sometimes I'll be up early in the morning. Don't ever read Lipstick Alley because you'll just be up all night. I'm trying to avoid that, but every now and then I get curious and I get on there and the next thing I know the sun is coming up and I'm like, I'd have read this whole thread. And when mind you, I've never posted on that site, not once in my life. Same thing with Reddit, but I've been reading them for years. So the sun is coming up and it looks like it's almost like 7 o'clock. And what made me think of it is when I was a kid, I had a paper out and we used to have the papers delivered by 6:30. The sun was already coming up by 6:30. And now it seems like it doesn't come up till it's nearly 7. And I'm like, that's odd that it seems like the sun is rising later and setting later.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm like, I think it was like maybe 8:55 and the sun was still out. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
8:55.
Like, no,
we're turning into the new Alaska, like a new. As long as we don't get those vampires from 30 Days of Night, I'm good.
Well, look, they had what was it, the lantern flies, because I think 2020 happened and those lantern flies came out and they were like, yeah, we never had them before or whatever. And then I'm like, what is this? And they're just like, just kill them. And I've never heard that on the news before, ever. And they were like, yeah, just kill them when you see them. And they were the hardest things to kill. Like you stepped on them and they would just jump away like unaffected. Like you literally had to grate them into the cement with your shoes to kill them.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just like, this is wild. And then I look on the news, I see Vegas of the grasshoppers and all this other shit. And,
they got the bed bugs now.
Yeah.
I saw like some swarms of some type of little tiny bugs in New York that they were showing on the news, these swarms of these bugs. And I was like, ugh. They said they blamed it on global warming. Oh, it's just warm here. But we don't have those swarms down here in Florida, those little bugs. The other thing that they said it could be, which makes a little bit more sense, was the pesticides, saying that the pesticides that were killing the ladybugs kind of messed with that because the ladybugs used to eat those other bugs. So you kill the bugs that eat those little bugs and then they multiply. And I thought about it, I was like, it has been a long time since I've seen a ladybug.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that you think about it, I haven't seen one at all lately.
I saw one earlier this summer, but it was blue, and it kind of threw me because I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I looked at it, I'm saying,
it was one?
It was just one. It was just like one little, because it came in the house. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I looked down, I I see some dots in the back. I said, oh, a blue ladybug. I'm like, that's a first. I took it outside though, of course, because I'm like, you stay here, you're gonna die. But
it's just wild because, like, as a kid, your teachers talk to you, and you watch scientists on TV, and they're like, "Oh, you watch these movies like the Day After Tomorrow. Don't worry about that. If that were to happen, it would happen, 1,000 years from now. The sun explodes. It'll happen, a million, however many years from now."
But you worried about you worry about your descendants, though. That's how I be like, look, I just want to protect my descendants. I don't want nobody blowing up to have to experience that shit and everything like that.
But it's wild though, man, because nowadays it's becoming more and more believable that those things have a possibility of happening now in our timeline, and you're
Mhm.
just like, damn, okay, I don't want to, like, because I grew up in Sacramento, California. I'm like, all right, I'm away from there. I'm away from California breaking off into the ocean and the earthquakes and all that. And then I moved to the East Coast and I'm like, all right, it's sinkholes and
Mhm.
hurricanes and all this other bullshit. And I'm like, I can't go down south because of the tornadoes. But now tornado warnings every
Mhm.
damn season in Philadelphia. I'm like, what the hell is going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. And they hit here, they hit. I'd be just like, I'm surprised that Memphis has missed it so many times.
Where
Um,
where are you at, Mark?
I'm in Memphis at the currently, and they have tornado warnings though, but it's just certain. It's mostly like the countryside that gets hit real bad. Like the little small towns and stuff, or like
Mhm.
Alabama something, but never like the city. You know what I'm saying? Like the worst thing that might happen here in the city is that, like, back in July we had those nasty storms down here. Trees took out power lines because the
Mhm.
trees got knocked down in certain areas, but that's it. Nothing like buildings being toppled over or like roofs being yanked off the top of buildings or something like that. Just here's a tree or two that have been toppled over. But you go into the countryside of like west and east, any part of Tennessee in the countryside, it's just like
Mhm.
destruction. So
Mhm.
because I'd be
And
worried about like this whole entire complex falling over because we're surrounded by
Mhm.
trees.
and that's what people say. They're like, oh, if you're in the city you don't got to worry about it, and I'm like, bullshit, because one of these is gonna happen eventually.
Mhm.
I hope it don't happen anywhere near me, but I know eventually we gonna see footage, cell phone footage, that one of these motherfuckers
Mhm.
ripping through skyscrapers and all this other
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. The people
Because
That's
act
what.
like the tornado is just gonna be like, no, this is a skyscraper, it's a building there, it's a tall building.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Because I live near LA, and they building, because we get a lot of earthquakes on this
Mhm.
side, and they got things
yeah,
tall. They just building them tall, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I could not
Mhm.
stay in a high rise, on the 80th floor downtown LA where there's a fault line, and then there's tremors every day. It's like
Mhm.
I cannot. I don't even understand people in New York. Like, that is insane.
Mhm.
But
mm,
I know they don't have, earthquakes like that, but still, I mean, I saw 2012. I saw the day after tomorrow.
Yeah. So one
you know.
good sinkhole, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
mm-hmm,
You know.
mm-hmm.
And isn't it an island mostly? Like
Yeah.
is
Oh
it
yeah,
New York or
well,
Manhattan?
Manhattan is an island, and then on the island there's different boroughs. Like it starts with like Harlem, and the Bronx are there, Brooklyn's there. Then you have to take a bridge over to Staten Island. That's its own island, and then there's also Roosevelt Island, which is also like a smaller island off the coast of Manhattan. So it's like a collection of little islands of the
Mm.
city part. There's also, upstate New York. I used to live in Rye, New York, and it's like 40 minutes outside of the city.
Is there I'm gonna have to head out very soon, but I have a question. Um oh man, I forgot how I was gonna say it. What is the worst kind of alien that we can encounter?
A hostile
Mm.
type.
Yeah.
Well, besides that, like, someone, if it's here to be hostile, okay, maybe we got bombs and guns and
Hmm.
work together. But is there something worse than just being hostile?
I would say something on the lines of like, we said like the body snatchers or like the
Yeah,
faculty
like
or
a
something like
parasite.
that. A parasite that would just,
That
because nobody's
changes
gonna
you.
think twice about it. Like, okay, so and so went from being, a cool person to a fuck boy overnight. Okay, whatever. And then
Mhm.
they'll sit there and be like, why is they hanging out with this person by this person? See, I think the faculty said it best. Instead of just being like bold and brass with their
Mhm.
brash with their invasion start small.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like a small town, and then you can go from there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And the thing about Body Snatchers, I'm not talking about Invasion of Body Snatchers. I'm talking about the movie Body Snatchers. They
Yeah.
landed in. I mean, it could be considered a sequel or like a spinoff or something like that. But they landed in a military community. You have all their power.
Mm.
And you know the military can sit, like, let's say the military can go sit there and be like, oh, well, President so-and-so is going to visit. All you got to do is set a pod in his area, because the president going to automatically assume I'm protected by the America's best. You know what I'm saying? He go takes a nap somewhere, and then next thing you know, pods are being shipped to all over the country and then across the world. You know, it
Mhm.
just be complete. It's scary, because I think I was more terrified of Body Snatchers than I was the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because I'm like, you can sit there and do what you call it, martial. What's it called? It martial.
Martial law.
You can do martial law in the town, and then people are like, what's going on? And then as soon as you send somebody there with authority, all they gotta do is take a nap,
Yeah.
and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And so I was shocked that they actually won at the end, but technically it was kind of like, you just gotta get the right people. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that is not cognizant of what's going on around them, and then sit there and be like, you know, we got you. You know,
Mhm.
and think about it. You could sit there, and your cousin or somebody could come back from the military. Like, they probably came back from Afghanistan or something, and they had to go to their little community to sit there and like debrief and all this stuff. Then they get sent home. And you're like, why is so and so so damn, you know, distant? And you could be like shell shocked, you know, over there. And he just, you know, this shit can change you. And then all the while he's sitting there plotting to sit there, take everybody out. And you would think that twice about it, because that's the general mind frame of the military is, you get shipped off to a war, you're gonna come back a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So scary.
Yeah, just don't enslave me, and do
Yeah.
not you know, because you enslave me, it's like, what are you doing it for procreation? You know, impregnate me, what are you doing it for?
Mhm.
You know,
Mm.
or don't hit me with the spider bullshit, you know, like The Mist. Or
Mm.
there was
Listen,
there was a show, what is a show on Netflix, was it Love, Death and Robots, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a section of that, I think it was season 2, or maybe it was season 1, where this astronaut, like, he's waking up out of this pod, and he's experiencing this whole day, and as the day progresses on, things are going wrong, and then it pans out, and you realize that he's uh he's being controlled, like, mentally, by this big ass spider alien. Like they really went into space, but then they got taken over, like the whole spaceship got taken over by these spider aliens, and they're just holding all these people in the pod, you know, mentally hostage, and they don't really know what's going on, but they pan out, and it's like this monstrous thing. It's fucking horrendous.
And I have arachnophobia, so that's even worse. So
Oh,
it'll be
wow.
just like, oh, God, no, no. Like that scene in the Mist, and I had read the novella before the movie came out.
Mhm.
So I can't recall in the novella them saying that they had like a spider-like creature or something like that. It just, a lot of shit was popping off in the novella. So when this scene went to the movie, I saw it in the theater, I'm like, oh hell no. Oh hell no. I was freaking out in the theater, like, wait a minute. The webbing is burning through their skin. I'm like, wow.
Mm.
Lord, take me
But
now.
the mist wasn't aliens, right? Wasn't it like a dimensional?
It was dimensional, true, but
Because they
it's
were
like
bombing or doing some the military, and then
they
they
opened up
opened
a
the door.
portal. They opened up a
Mhm.
portal, yeah. And I was just like, see, that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, they probably, what Chelsea was talking about earlier, they were playing with a black hole thing,
Yeah.
and they probably opened up a black hole and everything. So I just fell in like, oh, this is a new territory. Oh, new creatures. This we can have fun feasting on everything. You know what I'm saying? So, but to us it would be alien. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody
Yeah.
thought Cloverfield was an alien, but his ass came from another dimension. So it's just
Mhm.
Mhm.
he was
The
trying to figure out how
scientists
to.
looking around.
Yeah, stop fucking around with shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
There's
that's
shit you can fix on Earth. Why are you off trying to investigate other things? You can't even get it together here. And then you have the
Right.
audacity to go somewhere else and start poking around.
So there was some comedian, I can't remember who he was, but he was saying that all these rich people and they're building like these, I don't know,
Sorry
space
about that.
stations and stuff like that out there in space. It's like they're trying to leave this planet because they know it's screwed up. So they're
Exactly.
staying, I think we're going to end up being like Star Trek at some point. It's just out there exploring, and this planet just turned to crap. And if you're poor, you're just stuck here, and whatever happens, it happens. So
I hope on the level of Star Trek, because we were talking about earlier before you came on here, I wrote trees was Space Force with
Mhm.
Trump.
Oh.
I said I don't fuck with Trump like that, but if they do a Space Force, they're probably the akin to Starfleet. And I said if they get that up and running and they do get us to traveling, I was like, that would be a great thing to have. However, I would probably be like the most vanilla and green person, just like, Mark, we need you to go down there to investigate. I'm like, am I a red shirt? What's going on here? Let me know for sure. Because, I look around the team like, okay, everybody, I'm the only black guy. Okay, yeah, I'm not going.
The thing they would have to fix about the Space Force is that you can't make it American centric. The whole
Right.
thing about Starfleet and the Federation, which was actually groundbreaking in the 60s, was on the ship. You had Chekhov, who was from Russia, and you had Mr. Sulu, who was from Japan. This is during the Cold War was still going on when they put that on
Right.
television. So, like, you would have to, for that to work, it'd have to be a global cooperative effort. And we're not there
Co-sign.
yet. We're still on some old BS.
Yeah. That's why I think, as though I say, until it gets to that level, it's just gonna be like this imaginary. It's gonna be this laughable, what you call it, fifth branch of the
It's like
military.
Spaceballs right now.
Right.
we got Spaceballs.
Right.
You
'Cause
remember
this
that
thing,
scene from Spaceballs, comb the desert?
yes,
and they were combing it.
they were literally combing the desert.
Yeah, and then it cuts to like these two white troopers, and they got the comb the desert, and it cuts to the black ones, and they have a pick.
They have a pick.
And they said, we
We
ain't
ain't found
shit.
Classic.
That's what
Classic.
we have for Space Force. But
this is like
Tony Man in the comments said that it's official because now during the NBA he said during the NBA finals they announced 5 branches in the military instead of the 4. They said it was Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and Space Force.
Wow.
Until
the planet done.
Exactly. Until they get a ship up, and I'm just like, because there's no way, unless they know that, for Trump to do all of that, he had, because we were talking about how he's can't keep government secrets. For him to do all that means that he's probably like, well, we got to be prepared for everything that hits us, and even if it comes from the sky, it could be some lame brained ass, he could be high as a kite when he came up with that, true enough. But at the same time, like, yo, I wouldn't put it past that something would sit here or it's been here, or it is here, and they're like, we can't trust them. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be on standby just in case. But I'm like, what we gonna do? What can we do? You know what I'm saying? So just in the saying, you have a branch consisting of what? Scientists saying, like, if we just sit there and shoot this at them,
and you're not meeting with other countries to see what information they have. You really think that UFOs are only visiting America? That doesn't make any sense. You need to meet with other people around the world to see, okay, what information you have. What did they tell you? Like, the diplomacy of humanity needs to be improved.
That's my only pet peeve with Doctor Who is that I'm like everything is fucking up. It's jumping in the UK. Like ain't nothing. They're like they give us the American episode every so often, but I'm like nah, everything's happening in the UK. I don't believe it. If it happened in India or somewhere like that, like let's be real here. Like span the horizon a little bit, y'all.
Oh, I didn't know you were a Doctor Who fan. I gotta send you video. My brother built the robot dog.
K9?
Yeah, he built K9. It works. The ears move. It has a little printer that it prints out messages. He usually takes it to conventions. I gotta send you a photo of that.
Please do.
I grew up in the house with him playing Doctor Who. I can hear the theme song in my head.
That's my ish. I love me some Doctor Who. That's why I love Rick and Morty so much, because it reminds me of Back to the Future crosses with Doctor Who. So
I've never seen not one episode.
Oh, you have to check
amazing.
it out.
I don't know.
It's
Wait,
amazing.
which one? Because don't they have like two?
There's multiple Doctor Who's
Yeah.
because it's been on since like I think the 60s.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen the show Community?
Yeah. Some of them.
When Donald Glover and I forgot the other character's name, when they dress up as Inspector Spacetime, I think it's an homage to Doctor Who.
Inspector Spacetime. Have any of you guys watched Orville?
Yes.
Oh man,
I love the Orville. Love
so
the
good.
They better pick it up for 4 seasons. I'm be mad.
Yeah, I've been watching it off TikTok. You can watch it. I don't know. People just be putting everything on there.
They had uploaded Spider-Man on TikTok. It was on TikTok, and it was the last was. No, it wasn't Spider-Man. I'm sorry. It was a Flash. It was the last Flash movie. The whole movie was on Twitter and it was on TikTok.
Damn.
They just sat there saying, "Fuck Ezra Miller. We can make sure this movie bomb as hard as possible." Which is I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I just recently watched. Not to go too off topic. Well, it's kind of Aliens. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? I bawled my eyes out.
See, I'm worried. That's the reason why I haven't seen it, because I don't feel like crying another Marvel movie.
My eyes were this puffy 90% of the movie. I never cried like that. That was insane. Yeah, that was...
The Guardians is the one sci-fi thing that my grandmother likes. She don't like Star Wars. She don't like no Star Trek. She don't like nothing. But she was watching Guardians of the Galaxy, and my sister came in. She said, "Grandma, you want me to change it for you?" Because she gets confused with the Roku remote. If it's a regular cable remote, she could deal with it. But the Roku remote, she gets confused. So my sister was like, "You want me to turn it off? Because I know you don't like sci-fi." She said, "No, I want to see what this raccoon gonna do." She watched the Guardians. I said, that's some real progress there when you can get a person that don't like sci-fi at all to watch it.
Yeah. If you, who haven't seen it, I'm sorry, Evo, did you see
it? Yes, I saw it over the weekend, part 3.
You haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm good with, yeah. That was...
Don't bring your children at all.
Well, and I was going to take my kid, and then I saw the reviews, and it said it was pretty dark, and I'm like, well, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
She seems to have it is dark, but I think the dark part is Rocket.
Yeah.
That hit, because you finally see his story arc, and it just his little friends. I was a mess. I'm like passing out. It was so sad. No. It's like the equivalent of Toy Story 3.
I was done in the theater. I took my little brother. I was the one falling. even not on the set. Like when he gave up the toys, and I was like, damn, Andy's giving up his toys. Now I'm giving up my toys. Like we the same. I
did not see Toy Story 3.
That was so.
I did turn off Up. I tried to watch Up in the first 10 minutes with the story about the man and his wife, and I started crying, and I was like, 10 minutes into this movie, I'm crying. I'm not about to cry through a whole cartoon movie. I can't do it.
Actually,
sequence.
It's not as sad in the middle. It's kind of uplifting, and then some soft moments, and then it kind of but it's not as the first part just knocks you down.
That's the sad part. That's the
Yeah.
crazy
That's
part
the
right there.
real sad part. But
I
yeah,
was not prepared. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this cartoon movie. It's gonna be like Wally. I'm gonna have fun."
Mm-mm.
It's like, oh,
I
this is
cried
really
on
good.
Wally.
Nah, I'm tell y'all the last Pixar movie I cried besides Toy Story 3 because I watched it when I was at work and I was over in the corner. My back was turned to everybody. I was and I'm like, if I turn around, it's gonna be over with. Everybody's gonna start clowning me. But the real last Pixar movie I watched that made me cry was Finding Dory because my niece was so excited to see it. And I brought it home and I was telling her, she was all like about 4 or 5 years old. I said, look, this is not really for you. This is for me because we've been waiting for this movie ever since we was kids. So, and then she said the first 10 minutes when she lost her parents, I was like, my niece turned around, Uncle Boo, are you crying? I'm like, look, I didn't know this was gonna be all this. It just I'm like, I was just sitting there crying. And then so I just sat there and said, I can't do this right now. So I to this day have not finished Finding Dory because those first 10 minutes always get me. I always break down when I watch that part.
In the middle, it's funny. It's like Up. It's like wholesome. And then when you figure it out towards the end, it's like, oh, it's not as sad as the beginning. But yeah, Pixar, they got some great writers when they do. I don't know how they write it, but even Monsters Inc. Like when he put the door together, that was it. I was done. And then when he was saying goodbye, that was it.
I gotta go back and finish watching Up. You know what made me want to watch it is my sister and a couple of my cousins kept on describing me as the dog from Up. I was like, your attention span, you like the dog from Up. And whenever I get off topic, they will stop and literally go, squirrel. And I'm just like,
well, those movies, Pixar movies, they can be like those type of movies that can like they can be the what you call it, the catalyst for people to start trying to wonder what's going on out there. Because look at you got Up, you got Monsters Inc., that whole like, what if there's another dimension behind, a closet door or something like that? Then you got Finding Dory, they sit there constantly finding stuff in the sea. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the new Meg movie, when they sat there, it was like, oh, there's other stuff up under there. The Meg 2, the one just recently came out.
Oh, I can't wait.
And you're just like, all this shit's coming out up under the dance. So it's like, look, before they sat there and told us that Cloverfield or Clovey came from another dimension, I had this theory that he was up under the water. You know what I'm saying? He was just minding his own business in a certain section that we can't reach yet. You know what I'm saying? And then they was bombing stuff. And then he just had to say, yo, what the fuck are y'all doing up there? He just came up like, what are y'all doing? I'm up here down this wiping stuff. Like, what are y'all doing? So can you imagine like trying to explore up under the water and then like you sit there and like jerry rig something and something comes up that was not supposed to be like, it was supposed to be kept below sea level. Like God sometimes keeps stuff separated for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
You just described Pacific Rim.
Yeah, but yeah, because I don't know. It just this always worried me. Like when you sit there, because it's certain parts like Shasha just said earlier. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, Shasha.
Yeah, okay. I was making sure because I've messed up people butcher my sister's name sometimes. If Ivory know I've messed up a name several times if I got to know it. But there's certain parts of the jungle in the with certain continents in Africa. I mean, that's like certain countries in Africa that we have not explored yet. I forget what it's called, but there's not been explored all the way yet. I believe
South America too. They just discovered another tribe in South America like a year ago.
Right?
Wait, they didn't know some people were there.
Yeah, the people they flew over and the people were shooting bows and arrows at the helicopter. They had never seen like the
stuff like
that. They were up in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah, stuff like that is creepy. We haven't found we haven't completely explored in like all parts of our Earth yet, our planet, and so
But we going to other
Oh, man,
planets and trying to
we're
figure
going to
out
other
what's going
planets and
over
try to
there.
figure out stuff. And then
Oh.
what's going to end up happening is folks gonna be trying to run in those forgotten tribes and those forgotten sea places. They could be like, don't bring y'all ass over here. We didn't tell y'all to take y'all ass out there and go into the space. What you mean space? You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't got no part of it. Oh my God.
But just think about it.
I
Those tribes and stuff that have never seen what we got going on. That's how our ancestors were. It's like it's like, wow, they're living their peaceful life. They don't got cell phones, they got no computers, they're just and they're thriving. They probably never got
colonized. They are like
they never probably got sick. I mean, they're just that's their life and they're living their best of it. And look at us struggling, trying to pay.
We didn't get pulled into the matrix. I think that's what this is. When they say the matrix, I believe that when they say the matrix, I'm thinking like, capitalism, America, all this shit. Like, you gotta have money to survive and all this. These folks just chilling. They ain't gotta worry about no damn mortgage. They ain't got no taxes.
They had their individual jobs that they did within their tribe, but they didn't punch a clock. They got the food was free. You fish for your food. You grow your food. And with Native Americans, you had no fences. People didn't own land. You just owned what you built to live in. And then I know the dudes are mad because everybody was walking around with their titties out. And then these Europeans came and said, "You got to cover them ladies up, and pay us taxes, and punch a clock." It's like you ruined a beautiful lifestyle.
Yeah, just to sit there and make a few people, of 1% of people rich, and it's just crazy. And then those same 1% tell you, "Oh, you can't come to certain countries like this unless you have money." It's like, it's just crazy. That's the conspiracy right there.
That's about Hawaii. Can we talk about Hawaii and how, number one, they didn't teach us in school about the history of Hawaii and what they did to that queen that forced her to sign that land over to save her people. And then now it comes out today that fire was not a wildfire. That was an electric plant. Y'all set that stuff so you could
it wiped out all of that. I was like, so you telling me an island sitting on water ain't got no water? Because he said there was one guy said they went to go get water and it shut off.
Yeah, they shut the water off on.
I'm like, how does that? It's an island. It is water.
They wanted those people to sell their land. They were not selling their land. So they said, okay, we're going to burn your stuff down and force you off of it. And a similar thing happened with Puerto Rico, where they tried to keep them from getting the resources they need after that hurricane. And now all of a sudden it's new beach property for the land developers. And it's just, they do it over and over again. And what's wild is the natives on that island told them, if you do messed up stuff in this island, you're going to be cursed. And I'm like, I'm just wait for that to come to fruition.
I believe that. I've had people who live there and said, "Oh, you don't take nothing. You don't take anything. You don't throw it in your hair. You don't take a souvenir from the ground. You don't do none of that. You are cursed for life if you do something. And even if you bring it back, it don't matter. You destroy." And I always want to visit Hawaii, but I was like, I don't know. It's I'm not gonna touch anything. I'm just, it's so beautiful, but I don't know. I always wanted to go, but I've always heard, don't go to this part of the island, or don't mess up stuff. These are ancestors. Don't remove rocks. And it's like so many rules not to be cursed that I feel like if I go there, because it's like, oh, so beautiful, I'm going to pick up something. Like, oh, I'm cursed by accident, because it's a different place. It's just.
I went to the Big Island, Kona. And it was beautiful. Like, before I knew about, them not wanting us there and all that, but I did go there. Beautiful place. Didn't take anything back with me. Like, I think I bought a souvenir, like a shark's tooth from the the gift shop or whatever, but I don't think that shit was real anyway.
Mhm.
But but yeah, I'm staying after what I'm seeing what's going on right now, and then I was on haunted TikTok and they were talking about like the spirits and stuff in Hawaii and all that. I'm like, oh no, I'm cool.
I feel like
wow.
the spirit's gonna get their revenge,
Mm-hmm.
and man, it's gonna be nasty.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
And
real
they
nasty.
did the same thing in New Orleans too. My cousins that live there,
Yeah.
they said that they heard a bang and when those levees broke. It was not just a hurricane overflowed the levees. They heard a bang, like explosives were set there to break those levees on purpose.
Mm, 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 mm.
And that yeah, it's a lot of shit going on.
Mhm.
The government covering up a lot of shit, including aliens.
Mhm.
But I feel like I feel like we're gonna wrap it up, folks.
Mhm.
Okay.
Unfortunately, 3 hours. I gotta get up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still early where I am, so
It went by fast.
Yeah, it did go by fast.
I feel like I talk so much on the stream, but I just had so much. When you don't get to talk about this every day and you finally get a chance, it's like it just rushed out of me. Like finally, I get to talk about this.
Listen, that's what it's all about. It's about getting around the
Mhm.
folks, the cousins, and just
Mhm.
discussing the things, discussing the things. We have
Mhm.
fun. So I wanna
Yes.
thank y'all, for stopping by. Ivor Trees,
say
wanna
hi,
thank you for
Clovis.
stopping by.
Did
Make
you
sure
say
you
your
check
cat's name
out
is Clovis?
Yeah, that's
Clovis.
Clovis.
Is he
Yeah.
named after the cat from Sleepwalkers?
Yeah, it's a girl. Yeah, and then the other one running around here is Ripley.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry to
Oh.
interrupt you, Tyrone. I just got
No problem, no
I
problem.
just heard her call the
But
cat Clovis, and I was just like, oh, that's so nice.
Shout out to Clovis as well. Shout out to Clovis as well.
But thank you for inviting me. I know I came in like an hour and a half late.
No, listen.
But
You stopped by. That's the important thing. Thank you.
So-
always you always bring great energy and always bring something to say. When you come on. So I do appreciate that. And you can check out Ivor Trees' her links and information. In the description as well. So make sure you check that out. Marco Estes. Bro, thank you for stopping by again. I think you've been on the he was on the last couple lives,
yeah,
Yeah.
Mark's always on your show.
Mark,
Yeah, I tried.
getting it in,
Yeah,
me
yeah.
and Mark have a flow. We got a flow, so
Yeah.
it's always a joyous time, when he stops by and chops
Mark
it up.
is funny. I like Mark.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hilarious. If y'all have not checked out, Midnight Social Distortion, his podcast, make sure you check that out. Also Scream Kings,
Thank
his
you.
for Scream Kings on YouTube.
Thank you.
All links are in the description. He's got some heat. He's got some heat, and he's not done, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
because he's a writer as well. So
Yes.
Yeah.
when that gets popping, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, So we got TheLadyShasha in the building, always a great time when you stop by, always with the knowledge, always with the history. I'm always feeling like I'm learning something new, always bringing something awesome to the conversation. If you haven't checked out TheLadyShasha, what did I just watch? She's got some amazing content, some awesome breakdown. She's also involved with the Cabin in the Woods Film Festival. In the back, there we go, promoting that heavy. Also, she's got the Hood podcast, which you can also check out. Link in the description. As
On
well.
Monday, you got to check out the last 2 Mondays. We've been talking about that Montgomery boat brawl for 2 weeks. I'm sorry, it was a lot to talk about. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. It's always a fun time. Always a fun time. She's actually, all you guys are, my inspirations. Like I say, I I watch you guys and what you do, and all of you guys inspire me, the different
You
things
too.
that you do.
You
So,
too.
thank y'all. And last but not least, Chelsea, the Stitch Keeper herself, with her awesome, talent and just what she brings to the table in the horror community. I feel like she's just it's just the beginning. Even though I'm sure you've been doing this, you like your craft, it's obvious you've been doing this for a while, but I just feel like it's just the beginning. And you had your work in what is it, VHS 99 or VHS
Yeah, the last one that came out. That was 99, right?
yeah, 90. Yeah,
Wait,
99.
wait,
Yeah,
what
That
Oh,
was
about
I didn't know
94.
that.
what about
Mhm.
VHS 99? You had a segment in there?
She
Yeah, it
had
wasn't like a whole segment. It's like one of my dolls is in there, like stop motion in there.
Oh,
Oh my
That
God.
is
Anyway, I was
so
like pretty proud. I like
amazing.
took a picture of it and hung it on my wall, and then my name was in the credits, so I took a picture of that.
Oh,
yes.
oh.
that
As you
is
should.
amazing. Yeah.
Right in my
As you
hallway.
should.
Yes, and that I'm sure that will not be the last time, you got some work and some film out there, and some media out there. So thank you for just being the awesome person that you are. And whenever you do come on the show, you always come with the interesting perspective that you do come with. And it's always awesome to hear from you, So thank you for stopping by tonight as well. Thank y'all in the comments for stopping by. Sean 420, thank you for stopping by. Foe, thank you for stopping by. Valiant, Thor, Brian, thank you for stopping by. Bobby, thank you. Dell on movies, everybody. If I missed you, I apologize. What up? Thank you for stopping by. Official quiz, Rainbow, Rainbow was in the building. Tony Mann, thank you for stopping by. Jay Johnson, everybody who showed love, thank y'all. And as always, it's peace, love, and horror. That's been another episode of Evil Live, and we'll be back next week, folks. Enjoy your night and keep it spooky and watch